But she did not know how long it would take. In the end, she did not fall asleep. She came out at 7 in the morning. She had not visited her mother for 2 weeks. She missed her mother. She did not know if her mother had forgotten to ask her to call Su Jiran. Gu Lingqing watched as Bai Ye got into the taxi. He took a deep puff of his cigarette and exhaled a thick cloud of smoke. She did not reply to his message. He had been at the car park the whole time and saw her standing at the window at 4 o'clock. She must have seen the message, but she purposely did not reply. His heart tightened, and countless sorrows flowed out. He put out the cigarette and sent her another text message. Don't read the latest news. Don't listen to it. Don't believe it. I will come to you after I solve the problem. He waited for a while, but Bai Ye still did not reply. Saturday's music station was playing on the radio in the taxi. The announcer on the radio said in a light voice, "We are playing a happy event. It is said that Deputy Chief Gu's son will tie the knot with Deputy Chief Su's granddaughter. They have not even gotten married yet, but the happy event has already been announced to the world. Although I will not have the chance to attend the wedding of these two big shots, I still wish the newlyweds the best of luck. Next, we will play a beautiful song. I will marry you tomorrow." Bai Ye leaned her head against the window and looked at the air indifferently. She quietly felt the pain in her heart flow through her blood and into her limbs. Brother, Deputy Chief Gu's son is going to marry Deputy Chief Su's granddaughter. Hurry up and buy Gu Corporation's shares. With a strong combination, it will definitely grow. The driver chatted with his colleague. I don't have to wait for you to say that. Gu Corporation's shares have already risen from 80 to 150. Just wait for the wedding of the century to rise again. The driver replied through the walkie-talkie. Say, if the bride or groom runs away from the wedding, it will be interesting. I am also waiting, ha 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 ha. Bai Ye listened to their idle chatter. They stopped at the entrance of the sanatorium. Bai Ye paid, walked to the entrance of the sanatorium, and registered. Accompanied by the nurse, she went to her mother's ward. When she opened the door, she saw that Su Jiran was also there. Bai Ye was slightly stunned, and she squinted her eyes defensively. Su Jiran was cutting Bai Bing's fingernails. The good news of Gu Lingqing and Su Xiaoling's engagement was playing on the TV. She remembered that there was no TV in her mother's ward. Why are you here? Bai Ye asked. Su Jiran smiled wickedly. I'm sorry, dear. I went abroad before, so I came to see our mother so late. Don't be angry. Before Bai Ye could speak, she heard Bai Bing say with a smile. Don't be angry, don't be angry. You are busy with work. It's what I should do. Bai Ye is here. I won't disturb your chat. I'll go out and buy some delicious food. I remember that Mom likes to eat durian the most, right? Su Jiran smiled, got up, put down the nail clippers, and went to wash his hands. I'll go with you. Don't you know what to choose? Bai Ye said and walked out of the door first. Su Jiran followed her out. Su Jiran, what do you mean? As soon as they went out, Bai Ye asked directly. Didn't you say that after the divorce, I should come to see your mother once a month? Su Jiran said with a smile. I don't believe that you are so kind-hearted. Bai Ye was defensive. Then do you think you still have any value for me to use? Su Jiran asked in return. He looked at her and curled up the corner of his mouth. His smile made her hair stand on end. Don't come in the future. Bai Ye said in case of trouble in the future. Okay, I'll go and tell your mother about our divorce later. Bai Ye held Su Jiran's arm. That would definitely aggravate her mother's condition. Su Jiran raised the corner of his mouth. I'm helping you out of kindness. You won't refuse like a fool, will you? Bai Ye's eyes darkened. She let go of Su Jiran's hand and said coldly, Thank you. Chapter 89. She felt that nothing good would come out of Su Jiran's mouth. Since nothing good would come out of it, why would she make herself sad? I don't want to know about people or things that have nothing to do with my life, Bai Ye said resolutely. It's good that you know. I heard that Gu Lingqing has already given your hospital a document to register you to the military? Su Jiran asked. You're quite well informed, aren't you? Does Gu Lingqing have a grudge against you? Bai Ye sneered and walked in front. There was no grudge at first, but he targeted my wife, locked me up in the detention center, and targeted me, causing me to lose my position as the deputy director. I won't forget any of these. Do you think I'll let him go? Su Jiaran's eyes turned cold. Let people go when possible. If I were like you wouldn't know how many times you would have died, Baiya said coldly. I'll let others go, but they might not let me go. For example, Su Shaoling will also go to the military. Do you think she'll let you go if you go? Su Jiaran said with a smile, but it was obvious that the smile did not reach his eyes. Baiya lowered her eyes and said with certainty, I won't go. I'm afraid that if you don't go, I'm afraid you won't be able to do your job in the hospital. After all, it's an order from the military. Do you think Lu Shuang's father has the guts to disobey? Su Jiaran said with drooping eyes. Baiya did not say anything. Su Jiaran looked at her, held her arm, and pulled her to his side. What are you doing? Let go, Baiya said sternly. Since Gu Lingqing is getting married, don't provoke him, Su Jiaran warned with a vicious look in his eyes. I'll make my own decisions. Su Jiaran, don't forget that you're just my ex-husband. Legally, we have nothing to do with each other. Baiya pulled her hand away forcefully. She went into the fruit shop. Su Jiaran didn't say anything else and followed behind her. Baiya chose a durian, paid for it, and walked in front with it. Su Jiaran stared at her cold back. Something seemed to be stuck in his heart, and he felt very uncomfortable. When had he, Su Jiaran, ever lowered his voice to a woman like this? Baiya was just a woman he didn't want. Thinking of this, Su Jiaran didn't follow them in. He turned around, got into his car and left. Baiya entered Bai Bing's room. Where's Jiaran? Bai Bing looked behind Baiya and asked. He had something to do and left first. Mom, I'll open a durian for you, Baiya said softly. Bai Bing furrowed her brows. You quarreled with Jiaran, right? Xiaoya, Jiaran is such a good man. You should change your temper. Don't let people coax you all the time. And don't put all your attention on work. Okay, Baiya replied with her head lowered. Alright, go accompany Jiaran. He bought me a TV, and I want to watch it. Xiaoya, don't give your husband too much freedom. Otherwise, he'll let you be free forever. Mom, he's busy with work. I still have to wash your hair and bathe you, Baiya said with a smile. It's okay. Jiaran found me a caretaker today. He'll take care of me 24/7. Hurry up and have a child with him. Oh yes, did you give away your previous child? Bai Bing asked worriedly. Baiya lowered her eyes. Then I'll leave first. I'll come see you next week. Baiya picked up her bag and quickly left her mother's ward. She walked aimlessly on the road alone, her thoughts immersed in the distant past. She didn't know how many hours had passed as she walked and walked. When she looked up, she was at the entrance of the Special Forces Division. She came here unconsciously. Was she crazy? Baiya quickly turned around. Gu Lingqing's car came out of the division. He saw Baiya and shouted, "Stop the car." Lieutenant Colonel Shang also saw Baiya and reminded him. Chief, this is a critical time. If you and Miss Bai are photographed. Before Lieutenant Colonel Shang could finish speaking, Gu Lingqing had already gotten out of the car. He held Baiya's arm. Let go of me, Baiya said coldly. Gu Lingqing looked at her red eyes and let go of her. He said in a low voice, Where are you going? I'll give you a ride. No need. Baiya saw a taxi coming and waved at him. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply and pursed his lips. The taxi stopped in front of Baiya. Baiya was about to open the door when Gu Lingqing held her arm and pulled her forward. What are you doing? Let go of me, Baiya said defensively. Gu Lingqing opened the back door. Baiya stood resolutely and didn't want to get in. He held the door handle with one hand and supported her body with the other. If you want to be in a stalemate with me, I'll accompany you. I don't think we can continue our relationship. Baiya frowned and said heartlessly. She looked at him firmly. So you blacklisted my number? Gu Lingqing asked back. His eyes were a little red. He gritted his teeth and his anger burst out. If you don't like it, you can blacklist my number. Get in the car. I don't want to say it for the third time. Gu Lingqing said domineeringly and looked at her sharply. Baiya turned her face away. He kissed her lips. Baiya was shocked and stepped back. She had no choice but to sit in the back seat. Gu Lingqing sat next to her and closed the door. he said in a low voice. Go to the Southern District. Lieutenant Colonel Shang glanced at Baiya and said uncertainly, now. Just go. Don't talk so much nonsense. Gu Lingqing said in a bad temper. Lieutenant Colonel Shang didn't dare to ask any more, and drove to the Southern District. Baiya turned her face away, and looked out of the window. No one spoke. The atmosphere was strange and depressing. Gu Lingqing looked at her and said in a low voice. Gu's group is my family's business. You know this, right? Yes. Baiya answered and didn't look at him. Gu's was in the silk business at the beginning. When it was in my mother's hands, it started to do real estate business. It was a relatively early company in the 1980s. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. She didn't understand why Gu Lingqing told her this. My father had been in an important position for a long time. He once called the director of the Resource Distribution and Management Department and asked the director to sell several pieces of land to Gu's at a low price. In return, the director became the governor. It's normal to use power for personal gain. Baiya was a little sarcastic. Now the governor has fallen from power and is in the hands of Su Zheng. Whether to let him go or not depends on Su Zheng. Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya understood and her eyes became colder. Su Zheng asked you to marry his daughter on the condition that he let the governor go, right? Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya gloomily. His cell phone rang. He saw it was Su Changhao and answered. Lingqing, the governor died in the police station. Did you do it? Baiya asked and lowered her eyes. It's like this. I think accompanying someone for a lifetime is the longest confession of love. Although sometimes you can't tell if the other person is good or bad in a very short period of time. If you don't work hard, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Lu Shuang looked at Baiya's expression. Perhaps many mistresses think that it is true love with a man, so it causes another woman's tragedy, Baiya said rationally. Isn't Gu Lingqing not married yet? If it were me, I would face the problem together with him until he gets married, and then I will give up forever. The last sentence of Lu Shuang touched Baiya a lot. She had a good impression of Gu Lingqing, and maybe more than a good impression, she liked him. She wanted to work hard. I know what I should do. Baiya took her bag and went out. She wanted to wait for him at the military base, but she was afraid that it would cause him trouble. She pulled Gu Lingqing's number back to the whitelist and sent a message. I want to meet you. Where should I go? More than 10 seconds later, Gu Lingqing sent a text message over. Go to the parking lot under Jinjiang International Hotel, C10. Someone will pick you up. Okay, Baiya replied. She took a deep breath and got into the taxi. Gu Lingqing put away her phone, and her eyes softened. Lingqing, you must find the murderer who killed Governor Cheng. Otherwise, your Uncle Su will think that you did it. Moreover, your wedding with Xiaoling must be held as scheduled. Gu Tianheng paced anxiously in the study. Gu Lingqing looked at Gu Tianheng deeply. Uncle Su will also think that father did it, right? Bastard. Gu Tianheng slammed the table. Would I do that kind of thing? Tianheng, how much do you think Governor Cheng told Su Zheng? Song Shiyu was a little worried. It doesn't matter how much he said. As soon as Governor Cheng died, the recording of my call to him can't be found. Gu Tianheng breathed a sigh of relief. Could it be that Governor Cheng told Su Zheng where the recording is? Governor Cheng isn't stupid. If he revealed the location of the recording, he'd be dead. He still wanted to use the recording to save his life. So, I'm sure that Su Zheng doesn't know where the recording is now. Gu Tianheng was very confident. It can't be that you really did it, right? Song Shiyu asked suspiciously. Of course not. How is that possible? Gu Tianheng widened his eyes and said with certainty. I'm just afraid that they won't think so. Song Shiyu sighed. Gu Lingqing curled the corner of her mouth and negotiated. If I find the murderer, you'll allow me to marry Baiya. How about that? What are you talking about? I'm being wrong now, and you still want to marry that B*TCH. That B*TCH is Su Jiaran's ex-wife. I'll be laughed at. I won't allow it, Gu Tianheng said angrily. Gu Lingqing stood up. Then I have nothing else to say. Anyway, I won't marry Su Xiaoling. Don't you dare, Gu Tianheng said angrily. Gu Lingqing turned around decisively. Song Shiyu frowned and held Gu Tianheng's arm. Fine, we agree. Why did you agree? Gu Tianheng was so angry that his teeth were itching. I don't agree. Do you have any objections? Song Shiyu smiled and looked at Gu Lingqing. If you can find the murderer, we'll agree to your marriage with Baiya. Gu Lingqing's mood, which had been gloomy for the past few days, finally brightened up. He smiled. Before the engagement, I'll give you a satisfactory answer. He turned around and walked out. 30 minutes later, they arrived at his secret villa. The person who opened the door was Baiya. Before she could say anything, he leaned over and kissed her passionately. Then he spun around and pinned her against the wall beside the door. The kiss was overwhelming. Her breathing was getting more and more breathless. It was too forceful and violent. Baiya was almost out of breath from his kiss. She did not know what was wrong with him. However, he was determined to get her, which made her a little moved. Chapter 91. When she came back to her senses, he had already placed her on the bed. He looked down at her rosy cheeks and smiled. Xiaoya, thank you for coming to find me. Baiya's heart was sour and bitter. I can't tolerate a grain of sand in my eyes. I'll believe you for now. If one day you betray me, I'll never be with you again, Baiya said with certainty. Her eyes were red. Gu Lingqing replied in a low voice. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. He moved down from her lips to her collarbone. It was very gentle and very meticulous. Baiya panted softly. Her gaze became more and more unfocused and she couldn't focus. He picked her up and sat her on his lap. She faced him and could clearly see that they were together. Baiya met his burning gaze. His gaze was too focused, as if he was going to melt her. Baiya turned her face away in embarrassment. He smiled. He liked it when they were together like this. He kissed her lips again and again, as if he had already said a lot of things unconsciously. It was a little sticky, a little lingering, and a little unclear love lingering in the air. It was more and more and more and more. In the end, Baiya tensed her muscles. Gu Lingqing's panting became even heavier. When he came out he said, Xiaoya, I like you. Baiya's heart throbbed again and again. She really hoped that this love could last for a lifetime. He hugged her and lay down. Baiya lay face to face with him and slowly calmed her breathing. He didn't move, and neither did she. Is there anything I can help you with this incident? Baiya asked gently. I've investigated the scene. The other party didn't use a professional gun but a modified one. It's very sophisticated, and it's an unmanned gun. That means that the other party isn't a professional killer. He has knowledge of weapons, but his physical condition might not be good. Isn't there a camera in the prosecutor's office? How did the unmanned gun do it? Baiya didn't understand. He delivered a package. The video didn't capture his face. He's not tall or fat, and he was wearing a big coat. Inside the bag was a smoke bomb, which was remote-controlled. There was a surveillance camera attached to the unmanned gun, and it accurately shot Governor Cheng, Gu Lingqing said. He sent a smoke bomb, not a bomb. This means that he doesn't want to hurt the innocent. His target is only Governor Cheng. Moreover, his anti-investigation ability was very strong. If he did not capture anything, it meant that he might be familiar with the procuratorate and had done some scouting. Also, if it's wireless monitoring, the receiving point shouldn't be too far away, right? Baiya analyzed. Gu Lingqing looked at her and chuckled. He tightened his grip on her waist. Your analysis is the same as mine. Baiya, you're very smart. So don't say that you're not good enough for me in the future. I don't think you're not good enough for me, okay? His voice rose at the end, soft and gentle, with a hint of charm and charm. Baiya's hard heart softened a little. She looked back at him. There's no shortage of smart people in this world. There's a shortage of loyal people. Why don't you give me a child? Gu Lingqing said helplessly, but his eyes were sincere. Baiya's eyes dimmed, as if they were covered with a layer of mist. I don't want to use a child to tie you up. I want to use a child to tie you up, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing fixedly. You break up with me so often, and after a few days, you take it hard again. The reason is so strange that it's that you're not good enough for me. Why am I so worried about you? Gu Lingqing said softly. He lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baiye actually understood. That was because she did not trust him, and she did not have confidence in herself. Let's get back to business. Do you have a direction? Baiye changed the topic. Gu Lingqing looked at her helplessly. Why did he feel that she was very likely to fly away? Yes, but I still have some questions that I don't understand. Looking at the clues on the surface, that person is seeking revenge. However, it was clear that Governor Cheng had gone in. Why did he make a move at this time? Either someone was afraid that Governor Cheng would reveal the secret, so he made a move at this time, or something triggered that person's action, Baiye thought. So Chang Hao showed me the video of Governor Cheng's confession after he went in. There was a shocking incident. Gu Lingqing became serious. What shocking incident? Baiye asked. Have you heard of the case of 30 families in Tangqian village, and 108 residents disappearing overnight? Gu Lingqing asked. I've heard of it. This was 5 years ago. At that time, it was a hot topic, but the police couldn't find any problems, so it was left unsettled. Governor Cheng was the mayor of this city at that time. He said that at that time, the villagers in this village got sick with some unknown disease and committed mass suicide. He felt that this matter would cause social unrest, so he ordered everyone to be buried. However, the mysterious thing was that someone used the public opinion of the villagers to give him 100 bars of gold. Each piece of gold weighs 500 grams. According to the current market price, it's worth 15.5 million, Gu Lingqing explained. Could this be Governor Cheng's quibble for embezzling 100 gold bars? Baiye asked. The origin of these 100 gold bars can't be found. Because the incident was too strange, the staff of the Inspection Bureau accidentally revealed this matter. It happened to be heard by reporters, and this matter was exposed on the internet. So you suspect that the murderer is related to the Tangqian village incident. I will set off for Tangqian village tomorrow. Because it is an informal investigation, it will be more secretive. Wait for me to come back. Gu Lingqing gently rubbed her face. Seeing that Baiye did not refuse, he raised the corner of his mouth slightly. When I investigate clearly and catch the murderer, I can marry you. Ha! My parents promised that as long as I find the murderer, they won't object to us being together, Gu Lingqing said softly. He said it very sincerely. Sincerely. She was immersed in his eyes. She was quite touched by Gu Lingqing's efforts for her. Although, she still had her guard up and vigilance. I'll go with you. I still have my annual leave that hasn't been used up. If I apply for another day of personal leave, I will have 8 days. Baiye made up her mind. He was really worried about leaving her alone. What if Su Jiran pestered her again? It was good to go with him. At least he could protect her. He turned over and pressed her under him. I'll tell the hospital, and we'll go together. Okay, Baiye responded. He closed his eyes and kissed her lips. Baiye opened her mouth and let him in. She also closed her eyes and climbed to a new peak together. Chapter 92. For safety's sake, Gu Lingqing drove there himself. Apart from her, he only brought an attendant named Chen Ji. Tangqian village was much further away than Baiye had imagined. Gu Lingqing did not let her drive. He only asked her to sleep in the back. 12 hours after he and Chen Ji took turns driving, they entered a mountain road, and the car could not go in at all. There was no information on the GPS, and there was no signal on the phone. Gu Lingqing stopped the car. He frowned as he looked at the endless mountain range around him. Didn't they say that all the roads are open? Is Governor Cheng a fake municipal government? Gu Lingqing was furious. Chen Ji lowered his head and did not say anything. Baiye got out of the car and walked to Gu Lingqing's side. She held Gu Lingqing's hand. This is a common phenomenon. A year ago, our hospital organized a physical examination for impoverished areas. They said that there were roads, but after we went there, not only were there no roads, but there was also no electricity. When Gu Lingqing heard Baiye's gentle voice, his temper that was about to explode was slightly appeased. He did not want to lose his temper in front of her. We're in the military. We can't control the civil affairs. We're humans, not gods. Baiya smiled. Gu Lingqing's gaze softened. He ordered Chenji. Tangqian village belongs to Zhenghai town, right? Go to town and find a guide. We'll come back later. Yes. Chenji drove back to town. I have a suggestion. It's already late. Why don't we stay in town and ask the people in town? Maybe we'll find new clues? Baiya said. Okay. They drove for half an hour back to town. Baiya and Gu Lingqing asked for a room. They used fake IDs. Chenji stayed in the room alone. After they checked in, they ate at a small restaurant next to the hotel. The lady boss was very enthusiastic and smiled the whole time. Madam, I want to ask you about Tangqian village, Baiya asked gently. As soon as the lady boss heard the 3 words Tangqian village, her smile froze. She glanced outside and said in a low voice, Miss, you're not from around here, right? The 3 words Tangqian village can't be casually mentioned here. Why? Baiya didn't understand. 5 years ago, all 108 residents of Tangqian village disappeared overnight. Ever since then, the place has been haunted. Some people even saw ghosts wandering around at night. They were flying. It's terrifying, said the lady boss. Gu Lingqing cast an indifferent glance at the lady boss. He did not believe in ghosts and gods at all. Do you know why they disappeared? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. Rumor has it that he was eaten by a ghost. We don't dare to go there either. Shivering, the lady boss didn't want to say anything more, so she turned and went back into the kitchen. Chenji, Gu Lingqing called. Chenji looked at Gu Lingqing and listened attentively. Tomorrow, go to the town government and find out how many people there are in Tangqian village. Find out if anyone is studying or working outside, ordered Gu Lingqing. All right. I think this matter is very suspicious. What do you think? Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. It's impossible to believe in ghosts and gods. It's all psychological. I think there are still people in the village, so some people will see the so-called ghosts. I suggest that we don't get a tour guide this time. We'll look at the map and go there secretly, suggested Baiya. Chenji, you don't have to go tomorrow. Go and check the population tonight. Take the map and don't alert anyone, ordered Gu Lingqing. Yes. After dinner, Gu Lingqing and Baiya strolled around the area. They wanted to buy some fruits and ask around. The roads in Zhenghai town were very dilapidated. There were many places that were missing pieces, but no one repaired them. The people here closed early. Most of the shops were closed. The ones that were still open were the night stalls. There were no street lights on the roads in town, let alone in the countryside. Baiya saw a fruit shop across the road. It was probably stocking up. She walked over quickly and stepped into a hole. She paused for a moment. Gu Lingqing immediately hugged her waist and pulled her into his arms. He asked worriedly, Did you sprain your ankle? No. Gu Lingqing, when were the roads here repaired? Asked Baiya. I'm not sure. I'll get someone to check. Ask the locals. Baiya pulled Gu Lingqing's hand away and went to the fruit stall. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. He followed behind Baiya to the fruit stall. Baiya bought a lot of fruits from the stall owner. She asked casually, Boss, when did you repair the road here? Roads. About 10 years ago, said the owner. 10 years ago, the roads were seriously damaged. If it wasn't shoddy construction, it should have been run over by heavy trucks for a long time, right? Baiya peeled an orange, ate a piece, broke it in half, and handed it to Gu Lingqing. She looked at Gu Lingqing strangely. Gu Lingqing frowned slightly. He hated eating oranges because they were sour. However, it was Baiya who gave it to him. He broke off a piece and threw it into his mouth. He chewed it for a while and swallowed it. Although he only chewed it for a while, it was so sour that his stomach hurt. He stopped eating and held the half of the orange in his palm. Baiya looked at him again. The corners of her lips curled up slightly. He had an urge to kiss her. She gave him the sour orange on purpose. Gu Lingqing's Adam's apple bobbed, but he held it in. The owner explained, There's a cement factory in the town next to ours. They occasionally pass through here. Oh, by the way, I heard that the weird Tangqian village is in your town? Baiya said. The owner's expression darkened. That place is haunted. People disappear for no reason. It's very scary. There's been a lot of news recently. It said that the residents committed suicide because they got sick. It also said that the previous mayor buried them, and someone gave him tens of millions of gold. Baya said with a smile. Forget it. That's nonsense. We don't believe it. Let me tell you, the officials said that all 108 residents committed suicide, and the place was sealed. In fact, the owner looked to the right, then to the left, and said, I have a friend from Tangqian village. He didn't die at all. He's alive and well. Baya and Gu Lingqing looked at each other. Can you tell me your friend's current address? Baya asked. The owner looked at Baya and Gu Lingqing defensively. I don't think that's a good idea. Gu Lingqing took out 1,000 yuan from his wallet and handed it to the owner. The owner happily gave his friend's address. Baya. At night, lying on the bed, neither Baya nor Gu Lingqing fell asleep. She was thinking about the whole case, tossing and turning. Suddenly, Gu Lingqing covered her body. What's wrong? Baya asked hoarsely. Do something. Gu Lingqing kissed her lips. Condom. Baya went to the small box on the bedside table. Chapter 93. I won't do it inside. Don't take the medicine, it's bad for your body. If I do, I'll marry you anyway and we'll have a baby, Gu Lingqing said with certainty as he kissed her again and again. Baya was very guarded against this. Then we'll have another baby after we get married. Okay. Gu Lingqing could see her stubbornness. For the sake of her health, he took the condom from the bedside table. Baya was quite touched by his thoughtfulness. Hence she was very emotional. She wrapped her arms around his strong waist and pulled him to her side. Gu Lingqing wasn't a person who only cared about his own enjoyment. He locked his eyes on her expression, observing every minute change. In the end, he kissed her lips, warming her to the point that she almost drowned in his tenderness. Early in the morning, they were all up and eating breakfast at the restaurant next door. Chief, I stole the information from Tangqian village yesterday. There are indeed 108 people in Tangqian village, Chunji reported. Either the 108 people who died were false reports, or there are people who aren't from Tangqian village. We already know that there are still people alive in Tangqian village. After breakfast, we'll set off for Tangqian village. Let's observe the situation first, Gu Lingqing said. They set off after breakfast. They drove to a place where cars couldn't enter and walked. Chunji and Gu Lingqing each carried a big backpack. Baya carried hers. Coincidentally, she was wearing running shoes, so she walked with them. After a while, there was no road ahead. A mountain blocked their way. Gu Lingqing looked at the map again. What's wrong? Baya asked worriedly. Gu Lingqing frowned. This mountain isn't on the map. If the town government can even fake a map, then there's really nothing that can't be faked, Baya said helplessly. Let's go over this mountain first. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at Baya. Xiaoya, go to the car with Chunji first. I'll go look for him alone. Don't worry about me. I'm from Backpacker Network, and I often participate in mountaineering activities. Although I'm not as good as you guys, I'll be fine. Baya wanted to fight alongside him. All right, let's go together. The mountain was taller than they had imagined. After climbing over one mountain, there was actually another one. After climbing 3 mountains in one go, they finally saw the small mountain village at the top of the mountain. That village is Tangqian village? Baya looked at the mountain village not far away. I don't know. This village is not on the map. Let's go and take a look, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. The 3 of them came down from the mountain. This mountain village is really isolated from the rest of the world. People can't come in, and it's very difficult for people in the mountains to go out. If there's really a virus here, it won't spread outside. Baya looked around and said. Gu Lingqing stepped on a wooden plank, which had begun to rot. Vaguely, the 3 words Tangqian village could be seen on the broken wooden plank. We found it. Gu Lingqing looked around. Because no one had worked for a long time, the place that used to be a field was covered with weeds. Even the corners of the houses were covered with weeds. The whole mountain village was eerily quiet. I really can't see any signs of human habitation in this village. Where are the 108 villagers buried? Chunji asked suspiciously. Baya pointed to the direction of the foot of the mountain. Chunji looked in the direction that Baya was pointing. They didn't have individual graves. Maybe they dug a big pit and poured gasoline over it. All 108 people were buried together. They didn't even have a tombstone, Baya explained sadly. How do you know that they were buried at the foot of the mountain? Do you know feng shui? Chunji asked in puzzlement. I don't, but my mother likes these things. She would let me read the Book of Changes to her. This place is surrounded by mountains, and the village is located in the east. The 108 villagers committed mass suicide. The people who dealt with the bodies wouldn't deliberately choose their own graves. They would follow the principle of proximity. However, they were worried that the resentment of the 108 villagers wouldn't dissipate after their deaths. So, the place where they were buried wouldn't be too ridiculous. It faces the south, with the back of the mountain and the water. Baya pointed to a lake. The grave should be there. The north side is against the mountain, and the south side is facing the lake. Chunji felt a chill down his spine. Creak. He shivered and watched Gu Lingqing walk into a house. Chief, you should inform us when you open the door. It's too scary. Chunji followed Gu Lingqing in. The musty smell that no one had lived in for a long time assaulted their faces. It brought with it an eerie and terrifying feeling. Baya looked at the table. There was a pot of tea and a few teacups on the table. One of the teacups was filled with water. Chunji's pupils dilated because he was afraid. He pointed to the cup on the table and said, How can there be water in such a small cup? This little water will dry up in a week. Ghost. Baya remembered the story of the ghost ship. There were many ships floating on the sea. The hulls looked broken and worn, as if the ships had been floating for hundreds of years. However, when the sailors boarded the ship, they found the coffee that had just been poured. The coffee was steaming. They said that the ghosts of the sailors were here. Everyone said that this was a ghost ship. This village exuded the aura of ghosts. Gu Lingqing opened the lid of the kettle and found water in it. Chunji, go to the kitchen and see if there's any food. Gu Lingqing ordered. He and Baya walked into the bedroom. There was a quilt on the bed. The quilt was folded neatly like a piece of tofu. Gu Lingqing found a strand of long hair on the pillow. Chunji rushed in with an ashen face and said, There's food in the kitchen. Plain porridge. There's rice in the rice jar. There's a ghost. Chunji, calm down. It's not a ghost. Someone lives here, and it's a woman. Gu Lingqing analyzed calmly. I think that's why people said they saw ghosts here. Baya agreed with Gu Lingqing's view. How can you tell if it's a person? Or if it's really a ghost? This place is so desolate. Who would want to live here? Chunji said anxiously. This place hasn't been developed. The road is still muddy. Besides, no one comes here, so the footprints on the ground are very clear. If it's a ghost, it shouldn't have feet. After Gu Lingqing's analysis, Chunji really found many small footprints on the ground. Chunji, go to the grave and see if there are any clues. Be careful, Gu Lingqing said. Yes. Chunji went to the other side of the lake with a pale face. He was a special forces soldier. He couldn't say that he didn't dare. Gu Lingqing and Baya were checking in the room. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed in Gu Lingqing's eyes. He opened the window alertly. A woman flashed by. Gu Lingqing's pupils dilated. Shock and sharpness flashed in his eyes. Without thinking, he jumped out of the window. Baya ran to the window and saw that Gu Lingqing had disappeared from her sight. Chapter 94. Baya didn't want to be a burden. They were not there, so she searched the room alone. There was no problem in the room. She went back to the bedroom. She looked around. She squatted down and looked under the bed. It was dark under the bed. She couldn't see anything clearly. She used the flashlight to look under the bed. She found that there was a floor under the bed. She knocked on the floor, making a hollow sound. Baya's heart flashed with excitement. There was a tunnel. Maybe there was something new. She opened the floor and found a staircase leading down. She didn't dare to go down. She was worried that there was something down there that could hurt people. She wanted to wait for Gu Lingqing and the others to come back before going in. She waited and waited. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, a figure jumped in. Baya saw a strange woman. The woman frowned. She looked at Baya, then looked at the hole and ordered, "Go in." Baya didn't want to go in. The woman took out a gun. "I don't want to hurt you, but if the gun goes off, don't blame me." Baya looked at the gun. She could only go in. The woman grabbed Baya's phone and put it in her pocket. She tied Baya to a wooden pillar and sealed Baya's mouth with a rubber band. She started to pack her things. Baya saw that she stuffed hundreds of thousands in cash, a few guns, and some simple clothes in her backpack. She carried the backpack on her back and looked at Baya. "From your clothes, eyes, and personality, you are not a soldier." The woman judged. Baya looked at her and didn't say anything. The woman raised the corner of her mouth. "I came here 4 years ago and met Tang Xiaojiu. Tang Xiaojiu is the son of the village chief and the only survivor of Tangqian village. It was a coincidence that on the day of the accident, a little girl from another village came to visit her grandfather. So the people who murdered them didn't know that there was a survivor in Tangqian village." "Murder?" Baya was shocked and frowned. But because her mouth was taped shut, she couldn't speak. "Don't worry, I'll tell you everything I know. The people in this village are very simple. One day, they dug up a chest with thousands of gold bars in it." "Over 1,000? She heard Gu Lingqing say 100 sticks? It was revealed on the internet that Governor Cheng has 100 of them at home. In fact, that's not all he took. He probably gave some away, but he doesn't have more than 200 of them," the woman continued. Baya stared at the woman in disbelief. The woman smiled as if she had seen through him. "You must want to know where the other gold bars went, right?" Baya nodded. "I don't know either. Tang Xiaojiu's father went to find Governor Cheng, who was the mayor back then. Governor Cheng must have brought some people with him. I can tell you clearly that this kind of massacre is definitely not something that Governor Cheng can do." In other words, Governor Cheng was not the only one involved in the massacre of the village. According to the golden ratio, there were at least 5 of them. Moreover, there must be officials who were more powerful than Governor Cheng at that time. By the way, there was also a treasure map with the gold. It was said that the gold was just a drop in the bucket. Baya was even more shocked. But thinking about it, it was also possible. Tangqian village was surrounded by mountains, so news was blocked. Governor Cheng had evil intentions when he saw the money. After all, it was just a drop in the bucket, and there were already hundreds of millions of yuan. How big was the treasure? Originally, little Jiu knew nothing about the massacre of the village. When Governor Cheng's matter was exposed, he knew that Governor Cheng was one of the murderers. The woman was a little hurt inside. Baya saw pity in the woman's eyes. She didn't think that a person who would pity others would be that bad. "Well, Gu Lingqing is chasing me now. I can't waste any more time. When Gu Lingqing finds you, remember to tell Gu Lingqing that I am wronged. I will definitely find evidence to prove my innocence and ask him to let me go first," the woman said and went out of the cellar. She closed the wooden plank, and the surroundings were plunged into complete darkness where one could not even see their own fingers. Baya tried to make a sound. She believed that Gu Lingqing would definitely be able to find her. As soon as the woman climbed out of the cellar, she ran into Gu Lingqing, who was coming in from the door. "Xiaohe, go back with me," Gu Lingqing said sternly. Xiaohe raised a smile and said sarcastically, "If I go back with you, I will definitely be dead. With your current identity and status, you can just charge me with treason, and I will be completely destroyed. Everyone should be responsible for their own mistakes. I am no exception, and you are no exception," Gu Lingqing said coldly. He was very mean and ruthless. "You won't believe me no matter what I say, right?" Xiaohe clenched her teeth tightly, and some anger appeared in her sharp eyes. "I only believe what I see with my eyes and hear with my ears," Gu Lingqing said resolutely. "Really?" Xiaohe sneered, and a trace of malice flashed across her long and narrow eyes. "Gu Lingqing, let me ask you, do you only like Hailan and not me?" "Yes, I have never given you hope," Gu Lingqing said firmly. "You told me before that you won't like anyone else except Hailan. Is that true?" Xiaohe asked sharply. She threw the phone to Gu Lingqing. Seeing that it was Baya's phone, Gu Lingqing's heart tightened. "What did you do to Baya?" That girl is quite pretty. She is clean, fair and tender. She does look a little like Hailan. Do you like her? Xiaohi asked. The corners of her mouth curled up, and there was a murderous teasing look in her eyes. Chapter 95. In your heart, I've already caused Hailan's death. You won't let me go. You can't wait to kill me a few hundred times. What does it matter if I kill one more person? Xiaohi laughed. Gu Lingqing's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He dashed toward Xiaohi. Xiaohi took out his gun and pointed it at Gu Lingqing's head. Hurry up and find that girl. If you can't find her in half an hour, she'll definitely die. If you dare to hurt her, I won't let you go no matter where you go. Gu Lingqing said hatefully. Hey Gu Lingqing, you'll regret this. Xiaohi felt sad. He pushed the window open and jumped out. Gu Lingqing was furious. He smashed his phone on the floor. He shouldn't have left Baiya and put her in danger. Baiya, Baiya, Gu Lingqing shouted. Baiya lowered his eyes. He leaned against the pillar and kicked the table. The enamel cup on the table fell with a clatter. Gu Lingqing heard the sound. He laid on the floor and listened. Xiaoya, can you hear me? Baiya kicked the table again. Gu Lingqing quickly knocked on the floor. He found the floor under the bed. He lifted it. He jumped in. He turned on the flashlight on his phone. He saw Baiya. He quickly untied Baiya and removed the tape. I'm sorry, Xiaoya. I shouldn't have left you alone. It's okay. I understand. Let's go up first, Baiya said gently. She was extraordinarily calm. In the past, she had never been afraid when she faced 3 vicious criminals. Now she was just tied up. Once they were upstairs, Baiya said in a low voice, Gu Lingqing, I know who the murderer is. Xiaohi? Doesn't look like it, Gu Lingqing said. Tang Xiaojiu, the only survivor from Tangqian village. The villagers dug up 1,000 gold bars in total. Governor Cheng didn't take all of them. There were still others. The people in the village didn't die of disease, they were slaughtered. Tang Xiaojiu was the village head's son. He was the one who wanted revenge. I suspect that Tang Xiaojiu is the one drinking with the fruit store owner, Baiya guessed. Did Xiaohi tell you? Gu Lingqing's attitude was flat. Xiaohi told me to tell you that she was wronged. She is now looking for evidence to prove her innocence. She told you not to go after her, Baiya expressed. Do you believe it? If she was looking for evidence, why would she hide in a place like this? I didn't wrongly accuse her. I was the one who planned the plan back then. She and Hailan knew about it. In the end, our plan was exposed. Xiaohi's whereabouts were unknown and Hailan was burned to death. If she didn't say it, did I? Did I say it? Gu Lingqing said coldly. He stood up and turned his face away. Baiya could see that he was trying his best to adjust his emotions. Could it be that you reported it to your superiors and someone heard it? Baiya felt that what Xiaohi said was true. It was a woman's intuition. No superiors. It's just the 3 of us. I don't want to talk about this anymore. That's it, Gu Lingqing said decisively and walked out of the room. Chunji walked over and reported. Chief, we saw the graves by the lake. It's just like what we analyzed before. They were all buried together. But the strange thing is that someone was paying respects to them. There were apples, bananas, pears, and so on. They were all fresh. They should have come to pay their respects in the morning. That's the blind date that Tang Xiaojiu killed Governor Cheng. He went to pay his respects, Baiya said softly. Go back, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Looking at his cold back, Baiya's heart felt heavy, and she didn't feel very comfortable. Do you want to arrest Tang Xiaojiu? Baiya asked. A life for a life. If he did something wrong, he should be punished accordingly. Gu Lingqing looked ahead sharply. What about the truth? Do you want to make it public or hide it? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing did not say anything. According to his understanding of the relevant departments, they would hide it 99% of the time. Firstly, they were worried that it would cause a negative impact on society. Secondly, it would cause pressure on the relevant departments. Thirdly, it would be too bloody. It would make people's hair stand on end. It would also cause an international sensation. Fourthly, they were afraid that it would alert the enemy. Baiya saw that Gu Lingqing did not answer her. She was a little annoyed. I think Xiaohe is innocent. If Xiaohe is really the informant, she doesn't have to live such a miserable life. She can live a carefree life abroad. Besides, Tang Xiaojiu is just the son of a villager. He has no culture, no knowledge, and he doesn't know anything about explosives and guns. I have reason to believe that it was Xiaohe who taught him. From Tang Xiaojiu not hurting the innocent, from Xiaohe not hurting the innocent, and from Xiaohe's justice, I don't think she is lying. Baiya analyzed. Enough. You are not a soldier, nor are you a policeman. You can't represent the government. I said, don't mention this again. Gu Lingqing raised his voice. Baiya did not ignore the disgust and annoyance that flashed through his eyes. She fell silent and lowered her eyes. If he did not want to listen to what she said, no matter how reasonable her words were, he would not believe her. Why did she have to say more and embarrass herself? Baiya did not say anything else and continued to climb the mountain alone. After Gu Lingqing vented his anger, he regretted it. He was in a bad mood. He should not have faced Baiya. Baiya was not his soldier. She was not his soldier. She was not someone he could vent his anger on. I'm sorry. Gu Lingqing apologized. Baiya twitched the corner of his mouth and ignored him. He quickly climbed up alone, and would never be a burden to others. When they returned to the car, it was already 4 in the afternoon. No one had eaten lunch. Baiya turned his face away and looked out of the window. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya and frowned. I didn't mean to get angry at you. I didn't expect to meet Xiaohe here. I can't control my temper. I'll be more careful in the future. Baiya did not say anything. He closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. What was love? Was it caring for the other party, admiring the other party, listening to the other party, caring for the other party, not wanting to be separated, and wanting to be together every day? Or was it because he lacked a wife or husband in his life, and needed to carry on the family line? If it was the former, no matter what she said, Gu Lingqing would listen patiently. If it was the latter, no matter what she said, the other party would be irritated, repelled, and disgusted. If she did not want to continue, was it still love? Or, she just did not love him enough. That was right. She could not love him wholeheartedly for a month. Her heart was extremely sensitive and fragile, but it was also firm and invincible. She had always been a passive person. She was not simple. In the corruption of society, she was scheming, shrewd, and selfish. If the other party was good to her, she would treat him twice as well. She did not care about right or wrong, did not care about giving, and tried her best to return the favor. If the other party was not good to her, she would open up her heart bit by bit. Gu Lingqing held her forehead and placed it on his shoulder. Baiya did not want to have intimate behavior after a quarrel. At least, she needed time to be alone. She opened her eyes and lay on the chair in front of her. Her forehead was on her arm. Chapter 96. Baiya really fell asleep while lying on the bed. Gu Lingqing felt uncomfortable seeing her sleeping like this. He put his arm around her shoulders and let her sleep on his lap. He was afraid that she would fall, so he hugged her the whole way. Chunji stole a glance at the bureau chief. It was the first time he saw the bureau chief treat someone so gently, and it was a woman. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya with pity. For the past 2 days she had been running around with them, giving them ideas, thinking of solutions, climbing mountains, and taking risks. She didn't complain at all, and even walked in front, not dragging them down. He should have controlled his temper. His temper was a sharp sword, and it only hurt the people around him. His soldiers had to bear his anger, but she didn't have to. The car stopped. Baiya opened her eyes and looked into Gu Lingqing's eyes. She sat up calmly and looked out of the window. Have we arrived at the hotel? Let's eat first. Chunji and I will go find the person from Tangqian village who is still alive. You can rest in the hotel. Gu Lingqing deliberately softened his tone. No need. When can we eat? Let's do our work first. If Xiaohe informed Tang Xiaojiu, maybe Tang Xiaojiu has already escaped. He is the key to solving the case, Baiya suggested. Gu Lingqing nodded at Chunji and sent Tang Xiaojiu's address to Chunji. Baiya's hair was a little messy. She let go of her hair and combed it with her hand. Gu Lingqing looked at her. She didn't even look Gu Lingqing in the eye. She was quiet and elegant, with a sense of noble alienation. Xiaoya, Gu Lingqing shouted. Baiya looked at him. I'm sorry for losing my temper with you before. Gu Lingqing apologized. Baiya paused. He was proud and cold, but he actually apologized to her. It was not easy for ordinary people to apologize, but it was even more difficult for him. She was quite touched. It is normal to argue because of different opinions and ideas. She felt terrible at the time, but when she calmed down and thought about it, it was nothing. As long as it wasn't a betrayal, as long as it didn't cross her bottom line. Humans, without emotions and temper, were not humans. She didn't have a good temper, so she shouldn't ask others for help. I'm also in the wrong. I shouldn't have commented on things that I don't understand. Baiya also apologized. Back then, I brought 8 Special Forces soldiers to infiltrate the enemy's rear to rescue a politician. There was a traitor in the group, and they all died under the enemy's gunfire. In the end, only I survived, and Xiaohe disappeared at the most crucial moment. There's a lot of evidence to prove that she's the mole. I've been chasing after her for the past few years. These dead brothers are a threshold that I can't cross. So when I see Xiaohe, I get excited and lose my mind, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya nodded. Gu Lingqing held her hand. But you're right. If she's the mole, why didn't she return to the team after completing the mission? Why did she hide in the sparsely populated Tangqian village? I'll do my best to investigate. I'm just talking nonsense. You know what to do in the military. Baiya's tone softened. Are you still angry with me? Gu Lingqing asked, looking at her worriedly. Baiya shook her head. I'm a little emotional. Since it's emotional, I'll be fine after a while. In the future, if I don't do well, just tell me directly. Don't give me the Cold War anymore. You'll feel uncomfortable. He pulled her into his arms. Baiya leaned on him and looked out of the window. Soon, they arrived at Tang Xiaojiu's accommodation. He rented a 2-story building. Gu Lingqing glanced around and said to Baiya, You wait in the car. Okay, Baiya said. She watched as Chun Ji slammed open the door and pointed his gun at Tang Xiaojiu. When Tang Xiaojiu saw him, he was on guard. He jumped over the wall and ran. Gu Lingqing rushed over. When Tang Xiaojiu saw that he couldn't escape, he immediately held the knife to his neck. Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, I'll die in front of you. You killed Governor Cheng, didn't you? Gu Lingqing asked fiercely. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kill anyone. Don't come closer, Tang Xiaojiu said defensively. If you didn't kill anyone, why are you running? If you didn't kill anyone, we'll let you go, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. I won't go with you. I'd rather die than go with you. Tang Xiaojiu touched his neck. If you die, who's going to avenge the 107 villagers? Baiya said. Tang Xiaojiu paused. He looked at Baiya and frowned. Baiya stood next to Gu Lingqing. He didn't go near him. He looked straight at Tang Xiaojiu. Didn't you and Xiaohe analyze it? Governor Cheng won't be the only one who massacred the village. There are at least 5 people. If you die, they'll go after the 107 villagers. Then the murderer will get away with it. I killed Governor Cheng. If I get caught, you won't let me go. I won't be able to avenge him, Tang Xiaojiu said emotionally. His eyes were red. Who said you won't be able to avenge him? Your strength is as light as an ant. If you hand it over to the police and the country, your strength will be as solid as a rock, right? Baiya tried to persuade him. Those people are all high-ranking officials. Governor Cheng is just a small fry. You can see how powerful they are. Will it be useful to hand it over to the police? Tang Xiaojiu didn't believe it. It will be useful. I'm Gu Lingqing from the Special Military. My military rank is Major General. If the police don't investigate for you, my people will investigate for you, Gu Lingqing promised. Tang Xiaojiu looked at Gu Lingqing in disbelief. Then he looked at Baiya in disbelief. You're soldiers, not policemen. Why do you want to arrest me? Why should I believe you? Tang Xiaojiu was even more uneasy. Did you participate in the massacre? If we participated in the massacre, you'd be dead now. You wouldn't be here talking to us, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Then why are you looking for me? Tang Xiaojiu roared. Because they suspect that I killed Governor Cheng. I'm looking for you to prove my innocence, Gu Lingqing said coldly. Your innocence has been proven. What about my hatred? If I go with you, I won't have a chance to take revenge. Tang Xiaojiu was very uneasy. You did something wrong, so you should be punished by the law. Those people did something wrong, so they should also be punished by the law. I promise you, I won't let those people get away with it. I'll hire a lawyer. I won't let you carry out the death penalty. I'll let you wait for the day when the truth comes out. Your villagers can rest in peace, Gu Lingqing promised righteously. Tang Xiaojiu looked at Bai Ye. You've spent 5 years investigating this matter. What have you found? If Governor Cheng hadn't been arrested and exposed this matter, you wouldn't even know Governor Cheng. How many years do you think it'll take you to find the others? Bai Ye asked rationally. Can you really help me investigate those people who massacred the village? Tang Xiaojiu's attitude softened. I promise in my name. Gu Lingqing looked at Tang Xiaojiu coldly. Chapter 97. Fine, I'll go with you, but I won't confess. You won't be able to find any evidence to prove my guilt anyway. I'll confess after you find the murderer. Tang Xiaojiu put down the knife. Gu Lingqing walked towards Tang Xiaojiu. Chunji saw a flash of light and said alertly, Be careful, there's a sniper rifle. Bai Ye's first reaction was that someone might have found Tang Xiaojiu and wanted to kill him. She couldn't let anything happen to Tang Xiaojiu. She jumped on a rock and stood in front of Tang Xiaojiu. Gu Lingqing turned around and pounced on Bai Ye. With a thud, Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing. Are you okay? Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing with a burning gaze. When a person is in danger, their first reaction is the subconscious reaction in their heart. Gu Lingqing actually saved her. Did this prove that in his heart, she was the first? I'm fine. Where's Tang Xiaojiu? Bai Ye looked at Tang Xiaojiu. Tang Xiaojiu was shot in the forehead and had already fallen to the ground. Tang Xiaojiu. Bai Ye ran towards Tang Xiaojiu. Tang Xiaojiu's face was covered in blood. His eyes were wide open, and he still had his last breath. Bai Ye was worried. She pressed on Tang Xiaojiu's forehead. Send him to the hospital. Gu Lingqing, hurry up and make a call. Prepare for intracranial surgery. Maybe he can be saved. Chunji, chase them. Gu Lingqing ordered. He made a call. Chunji quickly chased in the direction of the sniper rifle. Bai Ye saw that there was no way to save Tang Xiaojiu. Her eyes turned red. Who are these people? Why did they kill Tang Xiaojiu? What is their purpose? Tang Xiaojiu closed his eyes. No, you can't die. Bai Ye pressed on Tang Xiaojiu's chest to save him. Tang Xiaojiu was dead. It was impossible to survive a sniper rifle shot through the head. How could he die? Bai Ye was not calm. Gu Lingqing helped Bai Ye up. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing. Now that Tang Xiaojiu is dead, no one can prove your innocence, right? I have contacted the local police. They should be here soon. Bai Ye, we must calm down now. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's shoulder. Bai Ye had to admit that she was unable to calm down after seeing a person die right in front of her. After all, she did not have the mental fortitude of a soldier. He held his head and closed his eyes. Tang Xiaojiu did not have a deep relationship with her, but she could not calm down. Gu Lingqing saw his brothers, comrades, and even his girlfriend die in front of him one by one. She now understood 1,000th of his feelings at that time. She could not panic. She had to calm down. She had to be rational. She could not be a burden. Bai Ye opened her eyes and forced herself to calm down. She looked at Gu Lingqing. What should I do now? The police will be here soon. They will ask us to take a statement. The less you know, the safer you will be. Don't talk about the gold mine and the treasure. We don't want to alert the enemy. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing said calmly. The more chaotic the situation was, the calmer he had to be. Bai Ye understood and nodded. When they come later, we'll say that we suspect that he has something to do with Governor Cheng's death. But before we could ask why, he was killed by a sniper. As for the others, we'll leave them to the police. We'll investigate in secret. With my identity, They won't dare to speculate. As for the news media, I will ask them to suppress it and think about it further, Gu Lingqing said. Okay, Baiya replied. Her hands were still trembling. Gu Lingqing looked at the blood on her hands. He used the mineral water in the car to clean up the blood on Baiya's hands. Her hands became colder and colder. Gu Lingqing held her hands and wrapped them in his big palms. His palms were very warm. Baiya's eyes flickered as she looked at Gu Lingqing. He smiled. Leave everything to me. I can solve any problem. Don't worry. Baiya was actually worried. She had a lot of worries. But at least with him by her side, her heart gradually calmed down under his comfort. Qinji came back. He lowered his head and reporting to the chief. They escaped. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. The mayor's police came over. Take care of it, Gu Lingqing ordered. He held Baiya's hand and entered the car. Don't we need to go out? Baiya asked Gu Lingqing. Let Qinji handle it first. What I told you just now will only be used when they have no other choice. Under normal circumstances, they won't dare to ask me. Qinji knows what to do. Gu Lingqing looked straight ahead. Just as Gu Lingqing predicted, those people didn't dare to knock on the car door at all. They put Tang Xiaojiu's body in the car and left first. Qinji opened the door of the driver's seat. He got in the car and reported. They brought the body back to freeze it. They won't move it for the time being. They will listen to our instructions. Okay, let's go back first, Gu Lingqing ordered. They got into the car. Gu Lingqing called Gu Tianhang. I have something to tell you. The murderer has been found. His name is Tang Xiaojiu. However, he was killed by a sniper rifle 10 minutes ago. We don't know who fired the shot. What happened? Why is there a sniper rifle involved? Gu Tianhang asked anxiously. I don't know. I don't think it's as simple as I thought. We still don't know who killed the murderer. What's certain is that my whereabouts have been exposed. Someone is watching me, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. The murderer who killed Governor Cheng is now dead. There's no evidence. Su Zheng must think that you killed Governor Cheng. No, you must marry Xiaoling and suppress this matter. Otherwise you will have a falling out and it will get out of hand, Gu Tianhang said angrily. I stand straight and act righteously. I'm not afraid of being criticized by others, Gu Lingqing refused. But I didn't act righteously and your mother didn't act righteously either. I did call Governor Cheng and he did sell the land to our Gu Corporation. Now Su Zheng has Governor Cheng's statement, Gu Tianhang said worriedly. That could also be Governor Cheng's framing. We didn't find any recording evidence on Governor Cheng's side. Moreover, the land wasn't seized by force. It was bought according to the normal market price. That's all. I have to hang up. I have to drive later, Gu Lingqing said resolutely. Your mother and I promised you that if you found the murderer, we would only agree to you marrying Baiya. Now that the murderer is dead, we won't agree to you marrying Baiya. Gu Tianhang said domineeringly. I don't need your consent to marry Baiya. You can choose not to accept it, but it won't affect my decision. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Baiya looked at him. In order to be with her, he was so determined to tell his parents. She was quite touched. With a husband like this, what more could she ask for? Chapter 98. Xiaohe has a political stain. What she said can't be used as evidence in court. Gu Lingqing said to Baiya. Who wants to kill Tang Xiaojiu? Is it related to the gold bar case? Or is there someone who doesn't want you to find the murderer to prove your innocence? Baiya was having a headache thinking about it. She leaned on Gu Lingqing's shoulder. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. He was confused too. He looked at Baiya and held her hand tightly. Chief, do you want to eat something first? You haven't eaten anything for a day, Qinji suggested. Let's find a place to eat. We can't stay in the hotel anymore. I suspect that someone is following us. Be careful. Let's find a safe place to stay tonight, Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes. Qinji found a restaurant and stopped at the entrance. Baiya opened the car door and got out. She looked at the source of the sound. It was a dagger. It seemed to be Tang Xiaojiu's dagger. She picked it up and asked Gu Lingqing in surprise. Why is Tang Xiaojiu's dagger in the car? He didn't get in our car, right? I remember he was holding it in his hand. Chunji's face was pale. Did he do something and put it in our car? Gu Lingqing glanced at Chunji. Don't talk nonsense. If there are no ghosts in this world, where would ghosts come from? If he has the ability to put the dagger in our car, then what he should do is to kill the person who killed him with the dagger. You're right, but why is it in our car? Chunji was confused. It was getting more and more suspicious. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye and glanced at Bai Ye's pocket. He understood. Xiaoye, when you rushed to Tang Xiaojiu's side, he was still breathing, right? Gu Lingqing asked. I'm sure, but it didn't last long, Bai Ye said sadly. He used all his will to put the dagger in your pocket. At that time, you were too emotional and didn't feel it. When you got in the car, because your pocket was shallow, the dagger slipped out of your pocket. When you got out of the car, it fell on the ground. Gu Lingqing analyzed. After Gu Lingqing's analysis, Chunji was enlightened. I think this explanation is reasonable. But why would Tang Xiaojiu put a dagger in the chief's wife's pocket? I'm not. Chunji glanced at the chief's expression. Chunji glanced at the bureau chief's expression. Won't that be the case in the future? Gu Lingqing did not deny it. He took the dagger from Bai Ye's hand, observed it, and twisted it. The handle of the dagger was empty. Gu Lingqing fell to the ground and a thumb drive fell on his palm. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. Thumb drive? What's in it? Get in the car first, Gu Lingqing said cautiously. They quickly got in the car. Gu Lingqing opened the laptop in the car and inserted the thumb drive. There were 2 video recordings in it. He opened a video called My Village. This is my village chief, Tangqian village. Tang Xiaojiu recorded himself and pointed it at the big tombstone. His voice was choked with sobs. My family, relatives, friends, lovers, and children are all buried here. Little Tang Jiu sat next to the tombstone and recorded himself. His eyes were red as he said, I feel that I might also be killed, so I want to leave some evidence behind, so that I won't die like these villagers, without knowing why. 5 years ago, our village accidentally dug a hole. There were 10 iron boxes in the hole. When I opened them, they were filled with gold bars. I counted 1,000 bars and a treasure map. My father said that we should hand these over to the country. I didn't agree. The country didn't open a road for us, nor did they give us electricity. These gold bars were enough for us to open a road and electricity. My father didn't agree. I was angry, so I ran out alone. I don't know who my father found, but I'm sure that my father found demons. Those demons killed 107 villagers, and an innocent villager's relative. They did it for the gold bars and the treasure map. But Heaven's Net has a long way to go. What they didn't expect was that I stole the treasure map from my father and made a copy of it. Unfortunately, I can't understand the treasure map. I wonder if those people can understand it. Tang Xiaojiu wiped his tears and patted the tombstone. He placed the copy of the map on the ground and recorded it all with a video. Then, he burned the map in front of the big tombstone. I hope that one day, if someone sees this video, they can find the murderer through the treasure map and avenge us. He will be able to find the murderer through the treasure map and avenge us. Little Tang Jiu recorded until this point. Gu Lingqing made a copy of the video and saved it in the cloud disk. For safety reasons, he also sent a copy to his email. He opened another video. The video said that the name of the murderer was Cheng Bin. Cheng Bin was the name of Governor Cheng. Gu Lingqing opened it. Today is the day that I'm going to kill Cheng Bin. This corrupt official took bribes and perverted the law. He killed 107 villagers in my village. Look, this is my surveillance screen. Awesome, right? Tang Xiaojiu narrated. He pointed the camera at the screen. On the screen, the scene of the inspection yard could be seen. I modified the gun so that the muzzle can help monitor. As long as Cheng Bin appears with a bang, he's dead. By the way, I also sent a remote-controlled smoke grenade, Tang Xiaojiu said with a smile. He placed the video recorder on the side. In the video, he could see Tang Xiaojiu and the TV screen. Tang Xiaojiu made a bowl of instant noodles. When he was halfway through eating, he saw that Cheng Bin had come out. He immediately put down the bowl and remotely detonated the smoke grenade. However, The image of Chungbin on the screen was very clear. He adjusted the direction and clicked the mouse. With a bang, he killed Chungbin. He also fired 3 more shots. After killing Chungbin, Tang Xiaojiu picked up the video recorder, pointed it at himself, and said with a smile, "I've killed the first one. Wait for me, I'll kill the rest one by one." The video ended here. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye. "It seems that even God wants me to marry you. Can this video prove your innocence?" Bai Ye was still a little worried. He was afraid that it would only exist in his dreams. This video should be enough to prove it. I think the address in the video is not here. It should be near the prosecutor's office. When I go back, I'll go to the police station or the prosecutor's office to investigate. I should be able to find the house he rented, the equipment in the house, and the DNA can prove that Tang Xiaojiu did it. Gu Lingqing explained patiently. Bai Ye breathed a sigh of relief. It was good to be able to prove his innocence. They did not come all the way here in vain. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's hand tightly. Chapter 99. Because of the urgency of the situation, Gu Lingqing and Chunji rushed back overnight. Bai Ye wanted to drive for them, but Gu Lingqing refused. It was 6:30 in the morning when they arrived at a group. Lu Shuang only got up when Bai Ye arrived home. She smiled when she saw Bai Ye. "You've made up with Gu Lingqing?" "Yes, I'll make breakfast for you." Bai Ye walked toward the kitchen. Lu Shuang followed Bai Ye into the kitchen and asked curiously, "Has the matter of him marrying Su Xiaoling been resolved?" "It should have been resolved." "That's great, I knew Gu Lingqing was a man." "Haha, I'm relieved that you two are together. You don't know, when you two weren't together, I was so worried that a few strands of my hair turned white." Bai Ye smiled. "Don't just worry about me. What about you? Your father should be the most anxious person. I've already brought the application form from the military and filled it in for you. When I enter the military, I'll face those hot-blooded men every day. Are you still afraid that I won't be able to get married? I have to choose someone I like," Lu Shuang said optimistically. "That's good too. That man named Shiniyin didn't pester you, right?" Bai Ye asked worriedly. "Him. He probably has already forgotten about me. It's a good thing. I'll just treat it as if I was bitten by a dog. Sister, you go ahead and make breakfast. I'll put on a facial mask while it's still early." Lu Shuang went out happily. Bai Ye took the opportunity to wash up while she was cooking porridge. When she came out, the porridge was ready and Lu Shuang had put on a facial mask. "Are you still working today?" Lu Shuang asked. "I rushed to the hospital last night. Although I'm not allowed to drive, I didn't sleep well. I'm afraid that something might go wrong during the surgery, so I won't be going today." "It's fine even if you don't go. My father had the foresight to transfer 2 obstetricians over on Monday, probably to replace you and me. I'm full. I'll have to trouble you to wash the dishes, my dear." Lu Shuang walked out of the door. Bai Ye washed the dishes, cleaned the house, and lay on the bed to rest. He didn't know how Gu Lingqing was doing. It should be going well. Dong dong dong. Someone knocked on the door. Bai Ye walked to the door suspiciously and looked through the peephole. It was Gu Lingqing's mother, Song Shiyu. She had met him at Su Xiaoling's house, so they knew each other. Song Shiyu knocked on the door again, as if she was sure that she would be inside. Bai Ye thought that they would meet eventually, so she opened the door and said respectfully, "Hello, Auntie, please come in." Song Shiyu looked around the room and said with a smile, "Although the room is small, you've taken good care of it." Bai Ye poured a cup of tea and placed it on the coffee table in front of Song Shiyu. She sat opposite Song Shiyu. "I picked this tea when I went on a trip with my colleagues this year. I asked the owner of the tea shop to make it. Please try it." Song Shiyu picked up the teacup and took a sip. It's fragrant, and the aftertaste is quite strong. It's sweet and refreshing. It's a good tea. I picked a lot, and I feel more at ease picking it myself. There's about half a caddy of packaged tea. If Auntie doesn't mind, you can drink it often. You have a good eye, Mississippi. The tea leaves are all coarse. According to the current market price, it should be no less than 10,000 yuan. How much did you pay when you picked it? Song Shiyu asked casually. It was arranged by the tour group. I think it's 100 yuan a day. You can pick as much as you want. Baiya answered truthfully. Miss Bai, you've got a great deal. The owner of the tea house is also going to cry. Song Shiyu smiled and put the teacup on the coffee table. Baiya could see that Song Shiyu had a good upbringing. She was elegant and noble, and her words were not harsh. She always had a charming smile on her face, dignified and generous. However, the words that came out of her mouth were sharper than a knife. The other meaning of her words was that she compared Gu Lingqing to tea leaves. It was Gu Lingqing's parents and the whole family who were going to cry. Since the owner of the tea house has received 100 yuan, he should be prepared. Only people who know how to taste tea can taste good tea. People who don't know how to taste tea cannot taste good tea. Even if there are 100,000 yuan of tea leaves, they can't taste good or bad, right? Baiya said in a humble manner. Indeed, many people don't know how to taste tea leaves, but it's different for people. My Lingqing was outstanding when he was young. He was supposed to be sent to Cambridge, but his father didn't agree. He insisted that he go to the military school and take over his father's position. However, Lingqing was independent and had his own ideas. He graduated from high school at the age of 14 and was admitted to the best university in the country. He finished his postgraduate studies in 4 years and was about to have a meteoric rise in his career. However, he went to join the special forces without telling us. His father was so angry that he almost had a heart attack. It was not that he didn't want to take on dangerous missions, but he was carried back several times. He was rebellious, unruly, disobedient, arrogant, conceited, and thought that his fate was in his own hands. However, what was gratifying was that with his own efforts, he made contributions every time and was soon promoted to major. However, it was also that year that something happened. He went out to carry out a mission with 8 comrades. There was a spy, and all of them were killed. When he came back with the hostages, he was covered in injuries. With his superb willpower, he returned to the army and fainted immediately. He lay in bed for a week before he woke up. His father and I were worried about him. However, he was still stubborn and almost died a few times. His father and I arranged for many people to go in and protect him. In the end, he survived until now and even became the youngest general from a major. What did you see from the path he took in the past? Song Shiyu said earnestly. What I saw is not important. What is important is what are you trying to express? Baiya asked directly. Our Lingqing is strong-willed and rebellious. It wasn't easy for him to get to where he is now. He relied on himself and not his family. He is a person who wants to do well, and he is very proud, strong, and domineering. However, in our eyes, he is still a child. As parents, our hearts ache the most when our child is suffering outside. We can't wait to give him the best in the world, but we are still worried that it is not enough. Baiya, I know that you are actually a reasonable person. I can see it from the way you talk, the way you speak, the look in your eyes, and your habits. I like your temperament very much. However, to be honest, you can't help Lingqing. Perhaps you are the biggest stumbling block in his life. Song Shiyu took out a check from her bag. The check was written for 8 million. She put the check in front of Baiya. This is my compensation to you. I hope it can reduce some of the pain in your heart, Song Shiyu said with a smile. Chapter 100. Song Shiyu felt Baiya's fierceness and was slightly surprised. At first, she thought that Baiya should be a gentle girl, but she didn't expect her to be so harsh. Her character seemed to be different from what she had imagined. There is something that Lingqing didn't tell you, right? Song Shiyu lowered her eyes and took a sip of tea. What? Baiya had a bad feeling in her heart. Lingqing likes you very much. He likes you more than I thought. He is trying his best to protect you from the storm and let you have a warm, safe zone. But your safety here, standing aloof from worldly affairs and separated from danger, is supported by his own flesh and blood. Does Miss Bai know about this? Song Shiyu smiled, her eyes misty with heartache. I don't understand. Can you explain it more clearly? Baiya frowned. Su Zheng, you have met Su Xiaoling's father. He is now the leader of the Discipline Inspection Department. He now has some information about Lingqing's father. Ling Qing's father and I promised Ling Qing that as long as he found the murderer who killed Governor Cheng, he would agree to let him marry you. But if he couldn't find the murderer, he must marry Su Xiaoling. When we promised him, we hoped that he couldn't find the murderer, so we deliberately leaked the news about him. Baiya stood up anxiously. Because you deliberately leaked the news, Tang Xiaojiu died. Song Shiyu didn't look at Baiya. We thought that there should be someone who didn't want Ling Qing to find Tang Xiaojiu. They would stop him. We didn't expect that he would kill him. Mrs. Gu is so smart. It's impossible that you didn't think of it, right? Baiya said bitterly. She didn't expect that parents would hurt their son like this. I admit that we are selfish, but it is also for Ling Qing. Although it was proved that the murderer who killed Governor Cheng was not Tianhang or Ling Qing, the deal between Tianhang and Governor Cheng existed. This matter was over, or was it just because of Su Zheng's words? There's something you might not know. Do you remember the day you were taken away by your husband, Su Jiran? Song Shiyu reminded. Baiya pursed her lips and said nothing. In order to save you, Ling Qing directly found someone to detain Su Jiran. You still don't know Su Jiran's identity. His mother, Xiong Daini, is a member of the cabinet. She is also recognized by the president's wife as the president's woman. This is an open secret in the circle. Su Jiran was the president's man. Ling Qing had previously pulled Su Jiran out of office and then detained Su Jiran. These actions were equivalent to directly offending the president. There had long been rumors that Ling Qing would become the president in the future. The president's son, Shen Yiyan, was now 24 years old, and the president still wanted his son to inherit the throne. Originally, the conflict was due to some restrictions on power, so the current balance was reached. The problem was that once Su Zheng didn't let Tianhang go, this balance would be broken. The president wouldn't let Tianhang go, and Tianhang and I would definitely fall. If Tianhang and I fell, Ling Qing wouldn't be far away. Therefore, Ling Qing must marry Xiaoling. If you love him, save him. My 8 million is really not to buy out your love, but to compensate for your sacrifice, Song Shiyu said emotionally. Baiya fixed her eyes on Song Shiyu. Song Shiyu was indeed a well-deserved strong woman. After so many years of immersing in business and politics, her EQ and IQ were not something that ordinary people could catch up with. She convinced her. Don't worry, whether he is worthless or priceless to me, the result you want is the same, Baiya said coldly. Song Shiyu stood up, feeling touched. On behalf of Ling Qing, on behalf of the Gu family, and on behalf of myself, I thank you for your selflessness. I have a presumptuous request. Say it. Baiya's legs turned to jelly, and she sat on the sofa. Actually, Ling Qing had a girlfriend. He met her when he was in the special forces. She was an outstanding, talented, confident, and beautiful girl. In the end, the girl sacrificed herself to protect Ling Qing. After Ling Qing woke up in the hospital, he went on another mission. Every mission was dangerous, and he didn't listen to us no matter how hard we tried to persuade him. We knew that he wanted to go with the girl. It took him 2 years to adjust to it. To him, those days were dark and colorless, and to us, it was also dark. If he knew that you sacrificed yourself for him, he definitely wouldn't agree. He was the kind of person who would rather destroy himself than sacrifice himself for others. As his parents, we feel sorry for him. Miss Bai, love is short, but life is eternal. Ling Qing doesn't belong to himself, but to the country. He is someone who can do great things. Can you help us? Song Shiyu nodded and pleaded. Tears flowed from Baiya's eyes. They passed through her lips, and they tasted salty. Could she say no? No, she couldn't. She was very envious that Gu Lingqing had such a mother. For the sake of her own child, she was willing to lower her voice and bow to a person who was nothing at all with such a high status. She had a mother too. She used to kneel in the snow in winter, so that she could study. She had a child too. After the child was snatched away, she went crazy and even injected herself with insulin. She thought that if the child died, at least she would be with him, and he wouldn't be so lonely. But on second thought, if the child didn't die, wouldn't he have no mother? A child without a mother would be very pitiful. She called the emergency number again. Su Jiran found her a psychiatrist, who kept instilling in her the idea that a child of a rapist should not exist in this world. Miss Bai, can I? Song Shiyu saw that Bai Ye's state was not quite right. When Bai Ye came to her senses, her face was already covered in tears. The memory of the child was too tragic. She had sealed it in her memory and was unwilling to touch it. Mrs. Gu, don't worry. I know what to do. Bai Ye's lips trembled. She lowered her head and clenched her fists tightly. The veins on her neck were popping, and she was trying hard to suppress her emotions that were about to collapse. Tears dropped one by one, like pearls with a broken necklace, and fell to the ground. Song Shiyu's eyes softened, and she felt sorry. Before she came here, she hated Bai Ye because she was Su Jieran's ex-wife, and she was Su Jieran's ex-wife. A woman who provoked Su Jieran, and could still make her son fall head over heels for her. What kind of woman did she have? What kind of EQ and IQ did she have? She was fully prepared to come over. If Bai Ye was scheming, snobbish, and crafty, then she had plenty of ways to make Bai Ye retreat in the face of difficulties, so that she would know what she should and should not provoke. Chapter 101. She was like a fragrant chrysanthemum, cold and aloof, but it made people feel relaxed and comfortable to get along with. I'm sorry. If we were just an ordinary family, we would be very happy with a daughter-in-law like you. But now we can't afford to lose. Song Shiyu sighed, turned around and left. When Bai Ye heard the slam of the door, her tears had already burst. In fact, she had already expected this result. Cinderella was able to be with the prince because of the 3 sets of expensive and gorgeous clothes, and the only pair of crystal shoes in the world. If Cinderella was just an ordinary peasant woman without a prominent family background, she would not have been able to be with the prince. However, her heart still felt very painful. It was as if an awl had pierced into her heart and opened a hole. Only after drinking the warmth of hot water did she realize the coldness of cold water. She had hope before, which was why she was in so much despair now. Bai Ye cried for a long time. When she was tired of crying, she fell asleep on the sofa. She was woken up by the ringing of her phone. Bai Ye opened her eyes and saw that it was Lu Shuang's caller ID. She answered. What's wrong? Shuang Niu. Have you seen it on the internet? The person who killed Governor Cheng has been arrested. The police have also found the house rented by the murderer near the inspection station. The TV said that Governor Cheng took the murderer's money, but did not do anything. The murderer was so angry that he killed him. In my opinion, the murderer is an idiot. Governor Cheng is already detained by the procuratorate. He doesn't need to do anything. Governor Cheng will also be punished. Why would he do anything? Don't you think he's stupid? Lu Shuang said. Bai Ye was silent. The authorities did not report the gold bar and the massacre of the village. In the world, many truths were drowned in the cruel reality. She wanted to help Tang Xiaojiu find the other murderers, but she was powerless. What's wrong? Xiao Bai, are you listening? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. Yes, I'm here. I just woke up and my head is still a little dizzy. I'm going out for dinner now. We'll talk when I come back tonight, Bai Ye said. Okay. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You haven't eaten yet. Hurry up and go eat. That's all. I'm hanging up. Lu Shuang hung up the phone. Bai Ye went to the washroom to wash her face. Her eyes were a little swollen. She couldn't just sit and wait for death. She exhaled and called Xing Bachuan. Xing Bachuan saw that it was an unfamiliar caller ID. He picked up the call and asked suspiciously, Who is this? Dad, I'm Bai Ye. I want to go home, Bai Ye said directly. What did you say? Xing Bachuan's voice was very sharp. He said heartlessly, I don't recognize you as my daughter. Are you sure you won't admit it? Bai Ye smiled faintly. After my mother gave birth to me, you secretly drugged her with a mental illness. You made my mother divorced. My mother was alone and mentally ill. She was isolated and helpless. But don't forget, I'm in the medical field. Yes, she is your biological daughter. Xing Bachuan frowned and shouted in panic. What are you trying to do? I think, Dad, you should have made many enemies in the political arena. Whether the testimony of your biological daughter is true or false, do you think the public will believe it? Can you still keep your position? Baya said lightly. I'm your father. You ingrate. How dare you try to harm me? Xingbachuan said anxiously. Yes, you're my father. I don't want to harm you. I just want to go home. If I'm homeless, I don't know what crazy things I'll do. After all, I have a mentally ill mother. When the time comes, she might say some nonsense to make you unhappy. Please understand. I'm homeless too. I can't do anything about it, Baya said with red eyes. You haven't contacted me all this time. Why are you suddenly coming back? Xingbachuan asked suspiciously. He lowered his voice and gritted his teeth in anger. The corner of Baya's mouth curled up slightly. In the past, she was alone. She could support her mother with her own ability. She didn't want to find a man who wanted her, and her mother dead. Now she couldn't be a woman protected by Gu Lingqing. Then, she would use her ability to protect him. Love, in fact, didn't mean being together. It was better to watch him. Dad, I've had a hard time. I miss you, Baya said lightly. Aren't you living well in the hospital? Even though Su Jiran divorced you, you're free now. What's more, he liked Jinyan to begin with. Hey Dad, you can disagree. Then I can only rely on Dad's political enemies. I believe they will give me a better report, Baya said calmly. Don't you dare, Xingbachuan threatened. Dad, I'm actually your daughter. Your blood flows in my veins. You only have 2 daughters, Xing Jinyan and me. Xing Jinyan is the apple of your eye. She has been spoiled since she was young. She has the temper of a spoiled young lady. She can't take hardship. Her EQ is too low, and she doesn't have enough IQ. She can't do anything big. Don't you want someone to help you? Baya tried to persuade Xingbachuan. You'll help me. Xingbachuan didn't believe her. He knew how badly he treated the mother and daughter. Blood is thicker than water. In fact, only Dad can help me. Only when Dad is good can I be better. I understand this logic, Baya said coldly. I need to think about it. You know your stepmother's background. I can't make the decision alone. Besides, Su Jiran might become your brother-in-law. If you come, Jinyan will hate me. Xingbachuan was very defensive. Are you so sure that Su Jiran will become Xing Jinyan's husband? Heh. Later, I'll send a video to Dad. Maybe Dad will understand. Baya hung up the phone. She took a deep breath. Talking to those people was a battle of wits and courage. She had to take things one step at a time. After making up her mind, she called Su Jiran. How are you going to answer my call? Su Jiran was curious. Meet me at Golden Garden in 2 hours. I'll call you when I've booked a private room. Are you free? I have something to tell you, Baya said cautiously. Golden Garden. Sure. See you in 2 hours. Su Jiran hung up the phone suspiciously. Baya booked a private room and installed a pinhole camera in it. After that, she went to a nearby shopping mall to buy a V-neck silk embroidered dress. She had been with Su Jiran for 4 years. Although she had never slept with him, she knew the type of women Su Jiran liked very well. The women who had been with him were mostly the same type. Sexy, enchanting, good figures, easy to get and easy to get rid of. She changed into the dress, and her deep cleavage was faintly discernible. The hem of the dress was cut high on one side and low on the other, but it didn't cover her slender legs. She bought a set of cosmetics from the beauty shop downstairs, and asked the shop assistant to put on an enchanting makeup. Chapter 102. When Baya arrived at Jindu Garden, Su Jiran was already there. When he saw Baya, his eyes flashed with amazement. Baya did not usually put on makeup and dress simply. She was never dressed like she was today. Sexy, enchanting, but not frivolous. She was still noble and outstanding. She was beautiful. Back then, Bai Bing married Xingbachuan because of her beauty. Baya inherited the strengths of Bai Bing and Xing Jinyan. She sat opposite Su Jiran. Su Jiran smiled wickedly and poured a glass of red wine for Baya. I was surprised that you would ask me out for a meal. Baya lowered her eyes. There was no deep hatred between you and me before. Su Jiran smiled and leaned against the chair lazily. Tell me, what can I do for you? Baya swirled the wine glass. Her beautiful eyes were mesmerized by the thin veil. Through the wine glass, she looked at the distorted world and said nothing. Su Jiran felt that the more she didn't speak, the more mysterious her beauty was. He held Baya's hand. Baya didn't move. He sat next to her. Baya looked at him. It was still her usual cold gaze, but now it was colder than before. He had been looking for this kind of temperament, but he had never seen it except for her. Su Jiran's heart surged. He leaned over and kissed her on the lips. Baya blocked his lips. I do have something important to tell you. What? Su Jiran looked at Baya in fascination. You look so charming now. I seem to have wasted God's gift. Is it too late to regret it now? I'm going home, Baya said lightly. Go home? Whose home? My home? You know, I always welcome you here. Su Jiran smiled charmingly. Not your family. It's Xing Bachuan's family. I want to take back everything that belongs to me, Baya said firmly. Su Jiran was suspicious. You've never mentioned that you're the governor's daughter. You didn't even reveal it to Lu Shuang. Now, you're actually going back to Xing Bachuan's side. Why? If you recognize reality, will you help me? Baya asked. Su Jiran moved closer to her, looked at her rosy lips, and said in an ambiguous tone, What can you give me then? What do you want from me? In fact, I don't have anything. You know that. If it weren't for the fact that I have nowhere else to go, I wouldn't have thought of having a governor as my dad. Baya mocked himself. Baya, I like you more and more now. Be my woman. Su Jiran's breathing became heavier as he kissed Baya's lips. Baya stood up and looked at Su Jiran coldly. When he was chasing after her, he also said that he liked her. What happened after that? I want to become Xing Bachuan's daughter, and you'll become my brother-in-law. It's better to maintain the basic distance between us. I want to enter the Xing family, and one of the problems is Xing Jinyan. I'll have to trouble you to explain it to me. Su Jiran's face darkened. He really didn't like it when women rejected him. He picked up his glass of red wine and drank it in one gulp. He said dangerously, I can help you. What about what I want? President Su doesn't lack women. Baya rejected him. Su Jiran also stood up and scrutinized her. Now that Gu Lingqing and Su Xiaoling are about to get married, don't tell me you still have expectations for him? I know who is worth waiting for, who is worth protecting, and who is worth loving. President Su, you don't have to worry. I'll go and settle the bill. Baya walked toward the door. Su Jiran held her arm. What's the hurry? It's only been half an hour. We still have 2.5 hours. Have a good meal with me. Baya sat down helplessly. Su Jiran ordered the dishes. Baya lowered her head and looked at the surveillance footage on her phone. The footage today was enough to convince Xing Bachuan that Xing Jinyan might not be able to win over Su Jiran. Where have you been these few days? Su Jiran asked. I don't have to report to you. Baya turned off the surveillance footage and put her phone in her bag. Let me guess. Gu Lingqing brought you to Tangqian village to find Tang Xiaojiu, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya looked at Su Jiran in surprise. Suspicion flashed across her eyes. How did you know? Gu Lingqing's parents don't necessarily want Gu Lingqing to find the murderer. As for the one who killed Tang Xiaojiu, do you think it was Gu Tianheng or Su Bei? Su Jiran said with a smile. I think you have a good chance too. Su Jiran poured himself a glass of red wine. It's a murder anyway. If it were me, I would have killed Gu Lingqing directly. There's no need to beat around the bush. Baya felt that he was right. Her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID of Gu Lingqing. Her eyes dimmed and she didn't hide her sadness. Su Jiran clenched his fists and looked at Baya coldly. Baya didn't pick up the call and hung up. Su Jiran twitched the corner of his mouth. Remember what I told you before. It's best not to mess with Gu Lingqing. He's not a man you can mess with. His family will never accept you. Why do you have to humiliate yourself? Baya picked up the glass of red wine on the table and drank it in one gulp. Gu Lingqing sent another message. Baya opened it. What's wrong? Are you home? I'll be there in 10 minutes. Baya stood up. Su Jiran stood in front of her and stared at her. You're not allowed to go. I have something to tell him. I don't want to avoid it, Baya said with red eyes. All right, make yourself clear. Su Jiran moved to the side and said. Baya went out. He gritted his teeth and called Xing Jinyan. Come to Jindu Garden. Baya went back. Gu Lingqing stood at her door and smiled at her. Baya's heart ached. He was so good, so good. So good. She walked towards him and hugged Gu Lingqing's waist. She buried her face in his chest and absorbed the warmth from his body. She still remembered their first meeting. He hugged her like this and said, I'll protect you. He kept his promise and protected her time and time again. She didn't like to remember in the past. Her memories were all tragic and only made her feel more hopeless. Now she liked to remember. Those warm memories could support her to continue bravely. Gu Lingqing said gently, Are we going to keep standing at the door? I want to hug you like this, Baya said softly. What's wrong? Where did you go today? Why did you dress up like this? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya woke up and opened the door. I wanted to change my appearance, so I went out to buy some makeup, Baya said and walked into the washroom. Gu Lingqing followed her to the washroom and smiled. You're beautiful even without makeup. I've seen your ugly face. Are you worried that I'll dislike you? Baya's eyes turned red. She closed her eyes and splashed cold water on her face. Chapter 103. Baya didn't take the towel from his hand. I don't want to get married. Huh? Gu Lingqing paused for a moment. Oh right. He took out a jewelry box from his pocket, knelt on one knee and opened the jewelry box. There was a diamond ring in the jewelry box. Baya, marry me, Gu Lingqing said seriously. The light from the roof fell on his handsome face, as if it was surrounded by a charming halo. The diamond ring was also very dazzling. She actually wanted to take it. She clenched her fists, squatted on the ground, and faced Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing noticed something was wrong. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing, I think it's too fast. 1 month is not enough for us to understand each other. Moreover, every time I think about Tang Xiaojiu's death, I always feel that we are responsible. I want to help him find the culprit of the village before I think about it. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. Do you think you need to find the culprit before you think about it, or do you not like me? He asked directly. Baya's eyes flickered, and she lowered her head. She couldn't say that she liked him, because saying that would hurt him. She also didn't want to say that she didn't like him, because that would hurt him. Gu Lingqing saw that Baya didn't speak, and his face turned cold. What if I say that if I don't get married, I can only marry someone else? Are you still not willing to marry me? Baya furrowed her brows. She understood. Gu Lingqing was in such a hurry to marry her, so that the Su family would give up on him. He was ready to bear any storm. If he didn't get married, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to handle the things that would happen in the future, so he couldn't get married. He was cutting off his own path of retreat. Baya didn't want him to cut off his own path of retreat. It's too rushed. Gu Lingqing gritted his teeth. He finally knew how cold she was. I understand. Gu Lingqing stood up and walked out of the door. Baya looked at his back, and the words were stuck in his throat. Gu Lingqing, I like you, Baya said in a colloquial tone as she watched him leave. When he left, she also felt a chill invading her limbs and bones. When Lu Shuang got off work, he opened the door and saw Baya sitting on the sofa in a daze, looking cold. What's wrong? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. I'm thinking about my past. When I was in my first year of university, there was a school beauty contest. The one who came in first would get a 10,000 yuan prize, and a chance to shoot a commercial. I really wanted to get the 10,000 yuan prize money. In order to be the campus belle, I did many things. Performing, dancing, doing talk shows, singing, cheering for the campus hunk in the field, etc., 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 Baya recalled. Lu Shuang smiled. I didn't expect you to be so crazy in your first year. Yeah, I really want that 10,000 bonus. Baya smiled bitterly. And the result? How was it? He pulled her into his arms and hugged her tightly. He closed his eyes. Hug me for a while. Baiya's heart ached, but she didn't move. I don't feel good. I feel very bad. It's as if there's a rock pressing on me. Baiya, what should I do? Gu Lingqing asked. His breathing became heavier, and his breath smelled of alcohol. She couldn't bear to see him like this. Baiya turned around, stood on her tiptoes and kissed him on the lips. Gu Lingqing paused for a moment and looked at her deeply. I like you, Baiya blurted out. Since she said it, there was no room for regret. This sentence was enough to set off 1,000 ripples. Gu Lingqing kissed her back excitedly. Baiya closed her eyes and accepted his kiss. He pressed her down on the sofa and took off her clothes. He was in a hurry when he went in. Baiya's muscles were tense. She looked at the lights in a daze. Suddenly, an evil thought popped into her mind. Why don't I be the woman behind Gu Lingqing's back? When she came out, she bit Gu Lingqing's shoulder. She almost couldn't recognize herself. Chapter 104. Midnight. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. He woke up alertly, glanced at Baiya who was sleeping soundly, and answered the phone. After walking out of the door he asked, What's up? Lingqing, something happened. Are you at Baiya's house now? Song Shiyu asked anxiously. Yes. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing was confused. Go back to the military now. The disciplinary committee will send someone to Baiya's house to find you. Once they find out that you and Baiya are sleeping together, you won't be able to explain yourself. What's wrong with me sleeping together with Baiya? She's my girlfriend. Gu Lingqing was suspicious. Baiya and Su Jiran haven't divorced at all. They set a trap to harm you. You should leave first. Song Shiyu said. Gu Lingqing didn't believe that Baiya would harm him, but he believed that Baiya might have been deceived. I'm straight. I don't need to run away. Lingqing, please. It's a critical time now. If you go in, your father, me, and our family will all be finished. No one can help us. I know. Gu Lingqing hung up and went back to his room. Baiya had already woken up when Gu Lingqing's phone rang. She saw that Gu Lingqing didn't look well and asked worriedly, What happened? The disciplinary committee is looking for me now. My mother said that you and Su Jiran haven't divorced yet. They want me to leave. How is that possible? Su Jiran and I are divorced. Baiya was very sure. She took out the marriage and divorce certificates from the bottom of the cabinet and handed them to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing's face darkened. The seal is fake. What? Baiya was shocked. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Baiya did not have time to think. Since the marriage and divorce certificates were fake, Gu Lingqing couldn't stay here. If he was caught, his future would be ruined. Leave now. Baiya opened the window anxiously. She saw that there was no one downstairs. The situation was urgent. Gu Lingqing was a person who could calm down in an emergency. I'll contact you later. All right. Gu Lingqing tore off the pillowcase, jumped out of the window and slid down the pipe. Baiya threw the bedsheets and quilt cover down. After thinking for a moment, she threw her nightgown down as well. She believed that Gu Lingqing would handle it. She changed into new sheets, pillow covers, and pajamas. There was a bang. The outer door burst open. Baiya opened the door and asked sternly, Who are you people? The man in the suit said solemnly, Search. May I know where your search warrant is? If you don't have it, you're trespassing. Baiya said defensively. The man took out a document. You're Baiya, right? Please help us with our investigation. Baiya saw that those people even went through the rubbish bin. She was glad that she did not use a condom with Gu Lingqing this time. In the end, they went to the bathroom. Those people did not find anyone in the room. They shook their heads at the man in the lead. Take away the quilt, window cover, and quilt cover in her room and take them away. The man ordered. I need to change my clothes. Baiya frowned. The man nodded. I'll give you 2 minutes. Baiya took the clothes and went into the bathroom. She was afraid that there would be evidence left in her body, so she opened the cabinet under the sink. After Lu Shuang was raped by Shen Yan, she was afraid of getting sick, so she bought a few bottles of clear water. Baiya quickly opened a bottle. There was a knock on the door. Are you done? It's been 3 minutes. Wait. Bai Yu used more than half of the bottle. She thought that it was enough. She changed her clothes, washed the pants inside, and threw them into the basin. She opened the door and went out. The man in the lead gestured to his subordinates. His subordinates put all the clothes she had changed out of into a plastic bag. What's the meaning of this? Bai Yu was on guard. It's our job to check and collect evidence. You just need to cooperate, the man in the lead said sternly. Bai Yu was brought into the car. She looked out of the window. It was dark outside. Just like her current mood. That day, she was talking to Su Jiran about the divorce. Su Jiran was reluctant at first, but he suddenly agreed. Could it be a trap? Also, she could clearly see that the staff was very displeased with Su Jiran at that time. How could it be a fake marriage certificate? Could it be that they were all set up? Su Jiran's behavior during this period of time did not seem like he knew that they were getting married. However, they had decided to divorce so suddenly. Who could have set it up? It was as if there was a cloud of suspicion shrouding them, and a sharp knife was hidden in the cloud of suspicion. Who was hiding in the cloud of suspicion? And who was the one who killed Tang Xiaojiu? She was confused now. Bai Yu was sent to the hospital directly, and a gynecologist examined her. Fortunately, she had been more careful and cleaned herself up. Otherwise, Gu Lingqing's death would have been conclusive evidence. After she was examined, she was sent to a small dark room. There was a man and a woman opposite her. She did not know them, and they were looking at her seriously. There were 4 cameras on the 4 corners of the wall in the room, and they were all pointed at her. She believed that there were many people watching from the other side of the camera. What is your relationship with Gu Lingqing from the Special Forces? The man asked sternly. Nothing, Bai Yu said calmly. Nothing. Did anyone see you eating together in a restaurant? The man asked tentatively. They had an operation to save a hostage. The hostage was pregnant, so I helped. During the mission, Chief Gu protected me, and I treated him to a meal to express my gratitude. I've eaten with many people. Haven't you eaten with many people? Bai Yu asked. Chapter 105. She thought of many answers in an instant in her mind. For example, she could say that Su Jiran was in a fake marriage. Regardless of whether they believed it or not, it wouldn't change her identity as a married woman. She didn't care if her reputation was ruined. She had nothing anyway, and she was afraid of harming Gu Lingqing. We are going to investigate Governor Cheng in secret this time. We pretended to be a couple. At that time, Gu Lingqing found out that someone was following him, so he created a false impression, Bai Yu said calmly, looking straight at the person who asked her. Investigating Governor Cheng? Why did he ask you to go? Didn't you say that there was nothing between you two? I liked watching Sherlock Holmes since I was a child. My idol is Conan Doyle. He is also a doctor and almost became a forensic doctor. We have crossed paths before. He thinks that I am capable and detective. This time, the investigation is secret, and he doesn't want to bring too many people around him. So it is safer to bring an outsider like me, Bai Yu explained. Song Shiyu looked at Bai Yu in the camera, and her eyes deepened. Actually, I quite like her. She has a good psychological quality. She is calm and dignified. The key is that she really likes your son. Why don't we not break them up? You are too soft-hearted. When you looked for her during the day, didn't she promise you that she wouldn't contact Lingqing anymore? In the end, Lingqing slept at her place. This woman is scheming and can lie through her teeth. She is definitely not a good woman, Gu Tianhang said with disgust. Even if she lies through her teeth, she is still protecting Lingqing. I don't think she is wrong. Besides, she is a girl who grew up in an orphanage. She has suffered the coldness of human nature and learned how to protect herself. This is not the independence that a little flower in a greenhouse can have. Do you think Su Shaoling has it? Su Shaoling only relies on her father to solve the problem, Song Shiyu retorted. You also know that Su Jing stood up for his daughter? Su Jiran is the president's man, and your son has already touched Su Jiran. The president was already afraid of the Gu family. Fortunately, Su Jing was there to mediate between them. If Su Jing helps the president, we will die one by one. Gu Tianheng said angrily. Song Shiyu crossed her arms in front of her chest and turned her face away. I don't think the president dares to touch us. After all, Ling Qing is now the leader of the special military. You secretly changed the marriage and divorce certificates in Bai Ye's drawer. As soon as she confronted Su Jieran, she knew that she was divorced. That's why we have to force her to confess now. Even if she confessed, your son would still like her. Do you believe me? Song Shiyu glared at Gu Tianheng. Then hand her over to Su Zheng. Let Su Zheng force Ling Qing to marry Su Xiaoling, and then release her. Gu Tianheng was furious. She's innocent. Don't you think you've gone too far? Now you changed her marriage and divorce certificates. Then you asked someone to pretend to be a disciplinary officer to catch her. Now you want to kidnap her. Don't make a mistake. Song Shiyu roared. Am I making a mistake? I'm trying to save the whole family. Gu Tianheng pointed at Song Shiyu and said, saving the family shouldn't be based on hurting her. Song Shiyu pushed Gu Tianheng's hand away. I'm not hurting her. She's hurting us. I won't kill her. I just want her to leave Ling Qing. Ling Qing will marry Su Xiaoling. Everything will go according to our plan. I'll call Su Zheng now and ask him to cooperate. Gu Tianheng took out his phone. Enough. Song Shiyu snatched Gu Tianheng's phone. You're sending your son's weakness to others. I think you're old and confused. Let me handle this. I'm angry because of you. Gu Tianheng roared and walked out of the surveillance room. Enough. Stop recording. Turn it off, Song Shiyu said impatiently. She took a deep breath and walked out of the surveillance room. She went to the small dark room. Bai Ye saw Song Shiyu and was slightly shocked. Then, she seemed to understand everything. Her eyes looked into the darkness at the bottom of the sea. Go out, Song Shiyu ordered. Yes. The two men went out. Bai Ye pursed her lips and looked at Song Shiyu. Song Shiyu sat down on the chair and was silent for a while. I want to know. Didn't you promise me that you'll leave Ling Qing? Why were you with him at night? Bai Ye frowned slightly. Her eyes were filled with mist. So those people are not from the disciplinary committee but yours? You broke your promise first. I need time. I've already rejected Gu Lingqing's proposal. You're not only hurting me, but also your son. Bai Ye was not calm. We're trying to save everyone. Saving everyone? You wanted to kill Tang Xiaojiu. You've been following me to save everyone, and you even made me and Su Jieran fake divorce? Let me tell you, I've slept with your son. Just because I didn't divorce him. Your son is the one who's going to die. What am I? I'm just an ordinary citizen. It doesn't matter to me. Now that my affair has been exposed, I'll just move to another place to live. But your son will be ruined in your hands. Bai Ye stood up excitedly and broke the lamp on the table. Song Shiyu clenched her fists and explained. We haven't been following you all this time. You and Su Jieran are really divorced, but we've changed your family's marriage certificate and divorce certificate. We didn't kill Tang Xiaojiu, and we've been cleaning up the evidence you left behind. Tang Xiaojiu might have been killed by Su Zheng's men. Now we're also looking for the murderer, so that we can catch Su Zheng's weakness. Bai Ye, if you really love Ling Qing, help us. Help you with what? Admit that I had sex with Gu Lingqing? I've never seen a parent who would hurt their own child like this. Bai Ye stared at Song Shiyu with bloodshot eyes. I'll take you to a place these few days. When you come back, Ling Qing and Su Xiaoling have already married. I need your cooperation. Do you have any keepsake? Song Shiyu asked with flickering eyes. Kidnapping? Bai Ye immediately understood what Song Shiyu meant. I'm sorry, but we all want Ling Qing to have a successful career. Bai Ye turned her face away, and tears flowed down her face quietly. I don't have a keepsake. If you don't have a keepsake, then cut off one of her fingers. If one finger doesn't work, then cut off her hand. If one hand doesn't work, then cut off her leg. Gu Tianheng pushed the door open and said fiercely. He wasn't joking. I didn't do anything wrong. Bai Ye looked at Gu Tianheng in disbelief. I'll handle it. Take her away. Gu Tianheng said impatiently. Song Shiyu had a bad feeling. She held Gu Tianheng's arm and said, Tianheng, I'll handle this. Don't hurt her. Chapter 106. If you dare to hurt her, I'll divorce you. I mean what I say. Song Shiyu shouted at the door. Baya heard it. She turned around and looked at Song Shiyu, whose eyes were red and fists clenched. She saw helplessness and pity in Song Shiyu's eyes, but no anger or hatred. The door closed in front of her eyes. Gu Tianheng's men put a blindfold on her. It was pitch black in front of her. She couldn't see anything. She was being dragged away. She was very calm. She didn't make a fuss or struggle, because she knew it was useless to make a fuss or struggle. She would only die faster. 2 hours later, her blindfold was taken off. She was surrounded by walls, and there was only a 1 meter wide and 2 meter high iron door. There was no bed, no bathroom, not even a bottle of water. There was only a table and a chair. A 50-watt light bulb on the top was emitting a faint light. A man wearing a mask put a few pieces of paper on the table and ordered, "If you want to live, copy the words on this paper." Baya knew what to do. She knew it was Gu Tianheng who kidnapped her. After Gu Tianheng got what he wanted, he wouldn't let her live to see the sun rise the next day. "I want to see Gu Lingqing's mother. Otherwise, I won't listen to anything you say," Baya said resolutely. "You're courting death." The leader slapped Baya's face. Baya turned her face away. She twitched the corner of her mouth and looked at the masked man coldly. "Do you think I can live? Since I'm going to die, why should I be afraid of death?" The leader slapped Baya's face again. Baya didn't make a sound. The leader was furious. He took out a knife and pressed Baya's right hand on the table. He threatened, "Are you going to write or not?" Baya looked at the leader fiercely. She pursed her lips. Her eyes were full of determination and hatred. Her eyes were too sharp. The leader was terrified. He slashed down with the knife. Baya only felt a sharp pain assaulting her in an overwhelming manner. The fingers were connected to the heart. "It hurts too much." She pressed the base of her little finger tightly. Her face was pale without a trace of blood, but her eyes were still sharp. The man in the lead was also shocked by Baya's aura. She didn't even make a sound. He went out to make a report. Baya lay on the table, his forehead covered in cold sweat as he stared at the red bloodstain on the table. She had a total of 2 relationships. For a while, her husband abandoned her like a worn-out shoe, hurt her at will, until her heart was full of holes. There was a period when she loved him, but she had no choice but to part with him. Her life was hanging by a thread, and she didn't have a good ending. At the end of the day, she was too weak to be respected. Therefore, she was like a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. If she could make it out alive this time, she would first make herself stronger. The man in the lead entered, followed by 2 people in white coats and masks. They stopped Baya's bleeding, gave him an infusion, and gave him emergency treatment. "Manager Song will be here soon," the leader said fiercely. 2 hours later, Song Shiyu walked in. Baya lay on the chair, unconscious. She took a look at Baya's right hand. Her right little finger was gone. After treatment, it was bandaged, and she was receiving an infusion. "You guys are too much. Hurry up and prepare a bed, water, and 24-hour medical care," Song Shiyu ordered. "Yes." The leader went out. Baya opened her eyes in a daze. Because of the fever, her face was unusually red, but her lips were very dry, and the skin was broken. She looked very pathetic. Song Shiyu's eyes were red, and she held Baya's hand, apologizing. "I'm sorry, Tianheng has become obsessed. I really didn't expect that he would ask someone to cut off your little finger." Baya sneered, pulled her hand out, leaned back on the chair, and said indifferently, "You husband and wife, one is playing the good cop, and the other is playing the bad cop. Your goal is the same. If you want to save me, there are 100 ways to do it. Why do you have to pretend?" Song Shiyu frowned, and was actually speechless. "No matter what, the damage has been done. I hope I can make it up to you," Song Shiyu said. "There's no need to make it up to me. I just want to get out of here alive," Baya said coldly, scrutinizing Song Shiyu's expression. "Don't worry. I can promise you that, but can you promise that you won't betray us?" Song Shiyu said worriedly. Baya twitched the corner of her mouth and said sarcastically, "Do you think Gu Lingqing can't find out that you did it? I know he can definitely find out, and he will understand our good intentions. I don't believe he will do anything to us." Song Shiyu was very sure. "So if I tell you, nobody will believe me. He won't do anything to you, but I won't live to see the sun rise the next day. It's meaningless for me to tell you," Baya said in despair. "Write it down and you can copy it. I promise you that you can get out of here alive," Song Shiyu promised. Baya stared at Song Shiyu. "I believe that Mrs. Gu is a sentimental person. You should understand that if I die because of Gu Lingqing, he will never forget me for the rest of his life. Even if he doesn't do anything to you, he will never forgive you. But it's different if I'm alive. Quarrels, life, conflicts, and desperate situations will consume our already weak relationship again and again. I will let you live," Song Shiyu said firmly. Baya felt that she had said everything she could say, so she picked up the pen. Her hands were trembling, and her words were crooked. She could not write at all. "This won't do." Song Shiyu stood up, called Gu Tianhang, and said angrily, "Look at what you have done. You wanted her to write, so you chopped off her right little finger. How is she going to write now? Your handwriting is also different from before. Have you lost your mind? I didn't chop it. Let her record it and read it according to the paper," Gu Tianhang said angrily. Song Shiyu hung up the phone and looked at Baya. "I will record it for you. After Lingqing gets married, he will send you out." Baya looked at the content on the paper, and the corners of her mouth twitched. She tasted her salty tears, but her eyes were firm. "Record it." Song Shiyu could not bear it. "I'm sorry." She took out her phone and showed it to Baya. Baya stared at the phone and said calmly, "Gu Lingqing, I don't want to die." She raised her injured hand. "Do as they say, save me. They said that if you don't agree, they will chop off one of my fingers every day. After my fingers are chopped off, they will chop off my toes. After my toes are chopped off, they will chop off my limbs. After my limbs are chopped off, they will chop off my facial features." Song Shiyu frowned and turned her face away. Baya was silent for 10 seconds, and her tears flowed quietly. "I beg you, let me go." Song Shiyu turned off the video. "You are a good girl, but Lingqing is not suitable for you. You will find a suitable man in the future, and if you need help, come and find me." Baya closed her eyes, and her head was heavy. She leaned on her arm. Once again she felt how small, helpless, and desperate she was. Chapter 107. When Baya woke up, she asked Song Shiyu to look at the clock. The clock was placed on the table. She clearly knew that she had been locked up in the small dark room for 7 days. In those 7 days she didn't say a word. On the morning of the 8th day, she was blindfolded and taken to a van with no license plate. The van went around and she changed cars a few times. After 3 hours she was thrown out of the van. Baya took off the blindfold. The light at 10 o'clock was very dazzling. She couldn't open her eyes at all. She closed them again and slowly opened them. What she saw was a fountain. In the fountain, there was a statue of a woman holding a child. It was very ironic. The trees were very green, the grass was very green, and the flowers were very red. She was still alive. Baya saw that she was near a park. She walked to the side of the road and got into a taxi. "Sir, I don't have money. Can you help me make a call? I'll get someone to pick me up," Baya said softly. The driver saw that Baya's face was frighteningly pale, and she was wearing a light blue dress. The dress was wrinkled and had blood stains on it. Her hand was bandaged up. "Have you been robbed or imprisoned? Do you need to call the police?" the driver asked warmly. Baya shook her head, her eyes were red. "It's useless for me to call the police." "What's the number you want to call? You can call it yourself." The driver passed the phone to Baya. "Thank you," Baya said. She dialed Lu Shuang's number. Lu Shuang picked up. "Shuang, I'm Baya. I'll go back later and I don't have money with me. Please help me pay," Baya said softly. "Ciao Bai." Lu Shuang was very emotional. "Where did you go? I called the police but I couldn't find you. Are you trying to scare me to death?" I'm fine. You can go to the police and log off. I'll be back soon. I'm hanging up now. I borrowed the driver's phone. Baya said and hung up, not giving Lu Shuang too much time to ask questions. Half an hour later, she arrived at the entrance of the apartment building. Lu Shuang was already waiting at the door. When Baya got out of the car, Lu Shuang paid the driver. Seeing the wound on Baya's hand, he widened his eyes and asked worriedly, "What happened to your hand? What happened? You were imprisoned, weren't you? Su Jiran did it." Lu Shuang was very excited. "I'm going to kill her." "Cool girl, it's not him. I want to take a bath now. I haven't taken a bath for 7 days. Smell it, it's stinky." Baya smiled. That smile, however, was as miserable as a pear blossom. "Who did it?" Lu Shuang held Baya's shoulder. His tears flowed down uncontrollably. He raised his voice. "Who are those people?" "Baya, you can't stay silent anymore. I'll help you. You can't let them get away with it." Baya was very calm. Her expression was indifferent. "This matter has passed. Don't ask about it anymore. If you treat me as a friend." Baya walked towards the elevator. Lu Shuang followed behind Baya anxiously. Could it be Su Xiaoling who did it? Many things have happened these few days. Gu Lingqing is actually engaged to Su Xiaoling? Does this have anything to do with your kidnapping? Engaged? Isn't it a marriage? Baya looked at Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang kicked the rubbish bin angrily. "Who is this Gu Lingqing? You were kidnapped and he's engaged to another woman. He's so heartless." Baya looked down and waited for the elevator. "Wait. Could it be that someone used you to threaten Gu Lingqing? That's why he got engaged. It must be Su Xiaoling. This person can keep a man's body, but she can't keep a man's heart. Don't talk about this anymore." Baya's tone was a little more serious. "Now that you're back, go and sue her. Tell them that she kidnapped you. You have Gu Lingqing backing you up. What are you afraid of? At most, we'll fight to the death." "I said don't talk about it anymore," Baya said sternly. Lu Shuang was shocked by Baya's tone. She didn't come back to her senses for a while. She looked at Baya blankly. Baya knew that she shouldn't be so fierce to Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang did it for her own good. "I know what I should do. Don't worry," Baya said softly. Lu Shuang cried. He hugged Baya and said with heartache, "Why are you so miserable? It's not enough that Su Jiran hurt you. Now Gu Lingqing is involved. It's me. I'm demanding things that shouldn't be mine." Baya patted Lu Shuang's back. She looked at the air calmly as if she was relieved after going through life and death. "In the future, it won't be worse than now. Life will only get better. Yes, it will definitely get better." Baya went back to her room and took her clothes to the washroom. "Do you want me to help you wash up?" Lu Shuang was worried. Baya shook her head. "The wound has already scabbed. What should be healed is already healing. I'm also a doctor. I know what to do. It's okay. Don't worry." She went into the washroom and washed up. When she was putting on her clothes, she heard a hurried knock on the door. Lu Shuang went to open the door. Gu Lingqing rushed in and said in a choked and emotional voice, "Where's Baya? Haven't you hurt Baya enough?" Lu Shuang pushed Gu Lingqing anxiously. She couldn't push Gu Lingqing away at all. Baya came out of the washroom. Gu Lingqing looked at her. His deep eyes were filled with tears. He didn't hide the turbulence in his heart. He hugged her tightly. "It's good that you're fine. I'm sorry that I didn't protect you well." Baya put her hands down. She didn't hug him back. Her eyes were misty as she looked forward. Her heart was numb from the pain. Gu Lingqing had lost a lot of weight. He almost went crazy when he saw the video of her. In the past 7 days, he didn't sleep for a single day. He didn't even close his eyes. He searched everywhere. He searched like crazy. He almost killed Su Xiaoling. He smashed Gu Tianhong's office and destroyed all the furniture in the Gu family's villa. He looked at her severed finger and chopped off his little finger as well. Gu Tianhong forced him to marry Su Xiaoling. Song Shiyu forced him to marry Su Xiaoling. Su Zheng forced him to marry Su Xiaoling. Almost everyone around him forced him to marry Su Xiaoling. He fought with them with his wits and courage. Every day, he was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He was afraid to see another finger of hers. He told everyone. If she was cut off, he would cut off one of his own. What made him even more desperate was that he found out that it was his father and mother who kidnapped Baiya. In his anger and grief, he got a turning point. He was engaged to Su Xiaoling. His parents had to let Baiya go. Otherwise, he and Baiya would die together. In the end, he succeeded in the negotiation. They got engaged yesterday. Baiya was released today. Gu Lingqing, don't look for me anymore, Baiya said softly. Gu Lingqing clenched his fists. The blood vessels in his neck were popping. He understood that if he continued to tangle with Baiya, he would kill Baiya. He had to be strong and invincible to protect her. Gu Lingqing's voice was choked with sobs. Chapter 108. Baiya stared straight ahead, and a crack flashed across her calm eyes. All the pain and unwillingness were hidden in this crack, and it became pitch black. However, Gu Lingqing didn't see her pain because he was holding her. He looked at her affectionately, helplessly, apologetically, and heartache. I'm sorry. Gu Lingqing choked with sobs. Baiya lowered her eyes, and her long eyelashes covered the window of her heart. Her voice was as light as autumn orchids. I won't forgive you. Gu Lingqing was stunned. His Adam's apple moved, and he swallowed his bitterness. Her hatred, her complaints, he would bear all of it. Fine, my life is waiting for you to take it at any time. Go. Baiya said coldly. Gu Lingqing knitted his brows tightly, standing still without moving. Go. Baiya looked up at him. Her gaze was resolute, piercingly cold, and piercingly cold. He didn't even have the chance to ask her to stay. He turned around, opened the door, and left. Xiaobai, did you see that? His right little finger is gone. He must have cut it off for you. Lu Shuang choked with sobs. How could Baiya not see it? She saw it as soon as he came in. However, she had no choice. During that period of time, she felt like she was dying. She knew that he felt the same way. He had fought for his marriage to become an engagement. He had tried his best. She didn't blame him. She only blamed them for being too weak. That I won't forgive you was a reminder to him and to herself. She didn't want their love to be a sacrifice to protect each other. She wanted to be strong. I know what to do in the future, Baiya said with certainty. Is there no way at all? Lu Shuang felt sorry for them. I think Gu Lingqing really likes you. Yes, Baiya said and looked at Lu Shuang firmly. I want to apply for this year's discipline inspection. I want to enter the cabinet. I want to become an important person. She also went out. Lu Shuang was worried about Baiya, so he followed them. Baiya bought a new phone and went to the business office to apply for her old phone number. She called Xingbachuan. I'm Baiya. Have you made up your mind? Why didn't you pick up my calls? Xingbachuan reproached. Whether I take it or not doesn't change your decision. What's your decision? Baiya asked coldly. Let's talk after we meet. Where are you now? I'm free at noon, Xingbachuan said. Let's meet in your office building, Dad. Baiya hung up the phone. Lu Shuang looked at Baiya worriedly. She knew that Baiya had a mentally ill mother who was locked up in a nursing home. She vaguely knew that the relationship between Baiya's father and Baiya was not very good. If Baiya didn't say, she would never ask. Little Bai, what do you want to do? Don't scare me. If you need my help, just tell me. You're my best friend. I'm willing to do anything for you. Lu Shuang said worriedly. I'm going back to that home. Thank you, cool girl. I'm fine. I've said it before. From now on, I'll get better day by day. Baiya smiled. Her smile was very beautiful. However, Lu Shuang knew that Baiya had a wound in her heart. Perhaps only Gu Lingqing could heal this wound. Then I'll go with you. If they bully you, I'll help you. Lu Shuang patted his chest. If I find someone to accompany me, that will weaken my confidence. I alone can be invincible. Don't worry. Don't worry, I'll look for you if there's a problem. Baiya held Lu Shuang's hand. Lu Shuang found that her hand was very cold, like a block of ice. He held Baiya's hand tightly, trying to pass the temperature of his hand to her. The late text messages on Baiya's phone kept ringing. Baiya glanced at them. There were messages from Lu Shuang, Xing Bachuan, Su Jiran and Gu Lingqing. Seeing the caller ID of Gu Lingqing, Baiye's eyes flashed with pain. She didn't look at the contents of their messages, nor did she call them back. She deleted all of them with one click. Before she went to see Xing Bachuan, she put on makeup and tied her hair up on top of her head. She looked mature and capable. Lu Shuang leaned against the door and looked at Baiye. He felt that the current Baiye was completely different from the past. The previous Baiye was cold and different, and aloof from worldly affairs. When they played, Baiye would at most watch them play. Occasionally, she would laugh quietly at the side. She was calm and serene. Even though Su Jiran had injured her to the point of being riddled with holes, she was like a hedgehog, curling herself up to protect herself. Right now, she was flamboyant and sharp, like a sharp knife that could cut through anything. Even her gaze gave people a feeling of sharpness. It's good to fight for what you want, but don't hurt yourself, Lu Shuang said worriedly. Baiye looked at herself in the mirror. I don't want to hurt them. I just want what I want, Baiye said with certainty. Is it Gu Lingqing that you want? Lu Shuang said knowingly. Baiye squinted at Lu Shuang. In fact, when fate is unfair, you can know what you want the most. At least, I have a direction to work towards. Don't worry about me. I will live a good life, because I have nothing to lose. Baiye smiled. Lu Shuang looked at Baiye's broken finger. She didn't need to ask to know what inhuman torture Baiye had gone through. Anyway, I only have one thing to say. I will always stand by your side and support you, Lu Shuang said with red eyes. Baiye nodded. She thanked them for taking away Gu Lingqing. Without Gu Lingqing, Baiye could be invincible. She took a taxi to Xing Baishan's office. She walked to the front desk. She smiled. Hello, I'm Baiye. I want to see Governor Xing. I have an appointment, Baiye said calmly. Okay. The front desk called Xing Baishan's secretary's office. Xing Baishan's secretary received the call and immediately went downstairs to greet him. The governor has been waiting for you for a long time, the secretary said respectfully. Seeing the secretary's attitude, Baiye knew Xing Baishan's final decision. She followed the secretary to the elevator. With a ding, the elevator door opened. Su Jiran walked out. He was surprised to see Baiye here. Where have you been? I called you these days but you didn't pick up. You broke your promise. Su Jiran stared at Baiye coldly. I'm sorry, there are some things that I can't do. If you don't suggest waiting for me, I'll treat you to coffee after I'm done, Baiye said lightly. Su Jiran felt that Baiye was different. Gu Lingqing and Su Shaoling are engaged. Do you know about this? Su Jiran asked. If I don't know about such big news, wouldn't I be ignorant? Baiye said calmly. Chapter 109. His gaze landed on her hand, and his eyes narrowed. He grabbed her arm and raised it, asking in surprise, What happened to your hand? Where's your little finger? Baiye retracted her hand without batting an eyelid. I've paid for some mistakes. A little finger has allowed me to see reality clearly. It's worth it. Gu Tianheng? Su Zheng? Su Shaoling? Who did it? Su Jiran guessed. No matter who did it, it won't change the outcome. I have something to do. I'll contact you later. Baiye walked past Su Jiran and entered the elevator. Su Jiran watched as the elevator closed in front of him, and pain flashed through his shrewd eyes. He and Baiye had been married for 3 years. He used to think of ways to hurt her, to make her suffer. Seeing her sad gave him a perverted sense of satisfaction, because she was Xing Bachuan's daughter. But now he was very angry to see her hurt so badly by someone else. He wanted to find that person and chop off his fingers. Baiye could only be bullied by him alone. Baiye entered Xing Bachuan's office. Xing Bachuan glared at Baiye unkindly. He sat on the throne of power and glanced at the seat opposite him. Baiye walked over, pulled out a chair and sat down in front of Xing Bachuan. Very good. Are you playing psychological warfare with me? Xing Bachuan asked sinisterly, scrutinizing Baiye's expression. Baiye smiled. She had been kidnapped this week. They had originally agreed to let Xing Bachuan reply within 2 days. In these 2 days, Xing Bachuan had thought of countless ways and countless possibilities. He hadn't decided to accept her. But she had suddenly disappeared and no one knew where she was. He was paranoid. He was worried that she had gone to join his opponent. He had many opponents and he was guessing which opponent Baiya would join. They would do this to him. He thought of many possibilities. The mistakes he had done in the past made him anxious, and the more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. Baiya had been missing for 7 days, and he had suffered from insomnia for 7 days. No matter how he thought about it, it was better to have a powerful helper than a powerful enemy. Dad, what's the outcome of the war in your heart? Baiya asked. I want to know your motive. How can I be sure that you don't want to harm me? After all, I hurt your mother. Xing Bachuan stared at Baiya warily. Bai Bing is my mother, and you are my father. Both of you are my family. You hurt my mother, and my mother hurt me. If it wasn't for the people next door who saved me, I would have been killed by Bai Bing. All these years, I've had a hard time. The pressure of work, the pressure of life, the pressure of marriage, has been overwhelmed. I want to live a good life. No matter how I thought about it, only my father could give me a good life. Why would I harm you? I'm not stupid. Harming you is the same as harming myself. Not only will I not harm you, I will even help you. Dad, Jinyan is your daughter and so am I. Baiya's tone softened. Okay. Xing Bachuan was convinced by Baiya. Your Auntie Chang has agreed to let you come back. If you want to work at the Commission for Discipline Inspection, you will have to rely on yourself for the written test. I've already talked to the interview. I will fight a good battle. Baiya stood up. I'm warning you, don't play tricks on me. I can give you a good life, but I can also destroy your good life, Xing Bachuan warned. I'm going back to pack my luggage now. See you tonight, Dad. Baiya turned around, leaving only a cold silhouette behind. She walked out of the elevator. She didn't expect Su Jieran to be waiting for her downstairs. She walked towards Su Jieran. Who chopped off your hand? Su Jieran asked coldly. Baiya looked at Su Jieran. His expression was serious, and his eyes reflected the 2 little girls. You want to stand up for me? Baiya asked in return. Su Jieran curled his lips, looking extremely devilish. What do you think? My Su Jieran's ex-wife isn't someone anyone can bully. Baiya sneered. She really didn't believe that he would stand up for her. It was just sweet words to coax a little girl. She was no longer a little girl. Su Shaoling. Baiya said these 3 words, turned around, and walked towards the door. Didn't you say you were going to treat me to coffee? Su Jieran said to Baiya's back. Baiya didn't even turn her head. Su Jieran chased after her and grabbed her arm. He was a little annoyed as he ordered. You already owe me 6 hours. You have to have coffee with me now. Why do I owe you 6 hours? Baiya crossed her arms in front of her chest and asked. Su Jieran furrowed his brows, and his eyes were filled with displeasure. Baiya, what do you mean by this? Are you playing dumb with me? Mr. Su, I don't want to abide by the verbal agreement between us. I suddenly feel that I don't have to abide by it, Baiya said lazily. Aren't you afraid that I'll release the video of Lu Shuang? Su Jieran warned as he looked at her with a sharp gaze. Baiya shrugged. Release it. Do whatever you want. If you release it, Lu Shuang might become the crown princess. I have a friend who's the crown princess. It'll be a great honor. Baiya smiled heartlessly. Shinian has many women outside. Are you really going to push your friend into the fire? Su Jieran looked at Baiya anxiously. He felt that the current Baiya was like a rose with thorns. She was very flirtatious, cold and sharp. Aren't other men like the fire? Baiya asked. Rather than a man who will change his mind at any time, why not a man who will never change his mind? Just release the video. Baiya moved closer to Su Jieran. Su Jieran unconsciously moved back a little. Her sharpness was too strong. Shuangniu hates evil. If she has a good life in the future, she might let you go. But, Baiya's gaze became sharp. She stared at Su Jieran and warned. If she doesn't have a good life in the future, His Highness is the only son of the president. Lu Shuang will become the first husband of our country sooner or later. Take a guess. How will she kill you? Su Jiran was silent. He knew that Baya was eloquent. He used to be so angry at her that he was speechless. But now, Baya was fierce and sharp. Fierce, sharp, every frown and every smile captivated one's soul, and carried an enigmatic charm. He seemed to be immersed in her beautiful eyes. He couldn't get out of it. Baya looked at him and said nothing. Good luck, Mr. Su. She turned around and walked towards the outside. Su Jiran stood rooted to the ground. He regretted the divorce. What should he do? Baya returned to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was still at home, sitting on the sofa. When she saw Baya, she immediately stood up and looked at Baya worriedly. Baya was betting that Su Jiran would not release the video of Lu Shuang. But she didn't know if it would affect Lu Shuang in the future. She had to draw a clear line between her and Lu Shuang. I'm leaving, Baya said. Chapter 110. Baya left the house. Su Jiran held her hand and walked to his car. Baya was annoyed. She shook off Su Jiran's hand and shouted, Su Jiran, what do you want? What do you want? You've been studying in your room these days. You've given up your major and career just to go to the Discipline Inspection Commission. Who do you want to discipline? Su Jiran asked tentatively. What are you afraid of? It's fine as long as it's not you, isn't it? Baya's eyes were cold. You're not thinking of Suzheng, are you? Baya turned her face away. Su Jiran chuckled and leaned against the car door lazily. Baya, you're ambitious. But don't you know that you're hitting a rock with an egg? Suzheng is the head of the Discipline Inspection Commission. He can crush you with one word. Besides, his rank is not something that a small local Discipline Inspection Commission can investigate. Don't be silly. Suzheng and Gutianhang are two mountains that cannot be shaken. Su Jiran reminded her. I don't think I need to report to you what I'm going to do. Baya turned around and was about to leave. Su Jiran pressed the back of Baya's head and pulled her in front of him. He aimed at Baya's lips and kissed her. Baya was furious. She slapped Su Jiran's face. I'm telling you, I'll definitely succeed, Baya said confidently and walked forward. Su Jiran wiped the corner of his mouth. He narrowed his eyes and frowned. Even though he had just touched Baya's lips, he could feel a strong feeling in his body. He wanted her. Now she only had a physiological reaction to Baya. Baya arrived at the Discipline Inspection Commission. She reapplied her lipstick in the washroom. There weren't many people in the Discipline Inspection Commission. The director introduced her to his subordinates. She went through the pre-employment procedures and took the oath. Baya didn't waste any time, and went straight to the director's office. What's wrong, Baya? The director looked at Baya puzzled. I remember that the Commission for Discipline Inspection has a rule that allows cross-city and cross-provincial discipline inspection and supervision, Baya said. To prevent local officials from protecting each other, there's indeed a regulation. The director nodded. I want to transfer to Jinyang City, Baya said. The bureau chief looked at Baya and asked suspiciously, You want to go to Jinyang City so much? Do you have any news? Baya nodded. I have news. If I go to Jinyang City and make a contribution, it will be considered a political achievement for the director, right? I can't decide which province or city to send someone to supervise. I need to apply to the higher-ups. Also, I need to give a detailed reason for the specific province or city. Can you give me the reason? I can't decide which province or city to transfer someone to. I need to apply to the higher-ups. Also, I need a reason. Can you give me the reason? I don't need to apply to Deputy Chief Su. He's the director of the Discipline Inspection Commission. So, you're saying that I can go as long as the director gives his approval? Baya asked. Theoretically, yes. But he's the same rank as your father. He might not give face to your father. The director revealed that he knew Baya's identity. I'll make a call. Baya nodded and left the director's office. She had read a book before. There was a young man who was blocked by a huge rock. He pushed pride and smashed the rock. But he couldn't move it. Then he was at his wit's end. He started asking for help. With the help of many people, the rock was finally moved. When you're in a desperate situation and you can't solve it yourself, you have to ask for help. Maybe you don't even know if the other party can help you. But at least if they ask, there's hope. Baya called Song Shiyu. Previously, Song Shiyu said that she would make it up to her, but she refused. That's how people are. Sometimes, backbone is like a fart in the face of reality. It's insignificant. Song Shiyu was surprised when she received Baya's call. After all, Baya disappeared for 2 months. She asked someone to check. Baya went to Xing Bachuan's house. She found out Baya's other identity. She was the daughter of Xing Bachuan's ex-wife. At the same time, she checked Baya's past. Hello, Song Shiyu greeted her politely. You told me that I can look for you if I need help. Do you mean it? Baya asked uncertainly. If it's within my ability, Song Shiyu promised. I'm working in the Discipline Inspection Department now. I want to be transferred to the Discipline Inspection Department in Jinyang City. I need a director in the Discipline Inspection Department to take charge of this. Can you help me talk to him? Baya asked calmly. Sure, it's not a big deal. I'll call you in the afternoon after I'm done. Song Shiyu agreed readily. Thank you. Baya was about to hang up. Did Gu Lingqing contact you? Song Shiyu asked immediately. Hearing the name Gu Lingqing, Baya's heart still ached. She lowered her eyes and said calmly, He won't contact me. Don't worry, Mrs. Gu. He must know that we kidnapped you. Now he doesn't care about us. He doesn't answer our calls and doesn't even go home. Tianheng went to the military to look for him, but he refused to see her. I heard that he went to take on a dangerous mission again. He's going to kill himself, Song Shiyu said in distress. Baya's heart ached even more. She closed her eyes and tears flowed down her cheeks quietly. If she hadn't been strong enough to know the news of Gu Lingqing's death, she wouldn't have lived on alone. He was the motivation for her to be strong, to work hard, and to be reckless. Mrs. Gu, there's nothing I can do. Baya's words were still cold, without any warmth. Besides, I don't know what you mean by saying this. I misspoke. I'm sorry. I'll call for help now. I'll contact you later. As soon as Song Shiyu finished speaking, Baya hung up the phone. She was caught off guard. She thought it was reasonable. She had hurt the girl so much. What did she want Baya to do now? Song Shiyu was reliable. At 11 o'clock in the afternoon, Baya received a call from Song Shiyu. They've agreed. You can ask your director to approve the application today. You can go to Jinyang City for discipline inspection tomorrow, Song Shiyu said with a smile. Thank you. Baya was still cold. She hung up the phone and went straight to the director's office. Director, the higher-ups have agreed. You can apply now, Baya said. The director didn't think that Xing Bachuan had the ability to get help from the higher-ups so quickly. This Baya had a more powerful force supporting her than Xing Bachuan. He didn't want to offend Baya and ruin his future, so he applied immediately. I've contacted the director in Jinyang City. I'll ask someone to book a plane ticket for you now. Tomorrow, they'll send someone to pick you up. If there's any situation, report it in time. I'll try my best to cooperate with you, the director said politely. Baya nodded and walked out of the director's office. She took the second step smoothly. Chapter 111. On the way back from shopping, Baya wondered who she would report to if she were the village chief of Tangqian village to find the gold mine. It wouldn't be easy for a village chief to meet the mayor. At most, he would go to the town to respond. Then the mayor would respond. In addition, Chungbin's secretary at the time should know about it too. Coincidentally, she had done a lot of research. She found out. The mayor at the time was now the mayor of Jinyang City. And Chungbin's secretary was now the governor of Jinyang State. The two of them had known each other for a long time. Before Chungbin's secretary was a secretary, he and the mayor used to be the mayor and the secretary of the town committee of another town. She guessed that the village chief had reported it to the mayor had told the secretary, and the secretary had told Chungbin. If all three of them knew, then they were accomplices. She was looking up information on the mayor of Jinyang City, Lu Liangcheng. If she wanted to be promoted quickly, she had to make contributions. And these people had slaughtered villages, stolen wealth, and committed heinous crimes. Why were they still so famous? She wanted to trample on the sins of these people. There was a knock on the door. Baya closed the page and opened the door. Xing Jinyan stood at the door, a sinister smile on her face as she said arrogantly, "Come out for dinner. Don't say that we're mean to you." "I'm sorry, I've already eaten outside. If there's nothing else, don't disturb me. I want to read tonight," Baya said coldly. Xing Jinyan stomped her feet. "Baya, don't be so shameless. My parents gave me my face. It's not something you can give me just because you want to." Baya closed the door and locked it. Xing Jinyan kicked the door angrily. She didn't look like a lady anymore. She had wanted to show off her affection in front of Baya. She hadn't expected Baya to not give her any face at all. "Dad, look, what does Baya mean? I invited her out for dinner out of goodwill, but she's not happy. Does she have any respect for you?" Xing Jinyan complained. "Ignore her. We don't have to invite her out for dinner in the future," Xing Bachuan said angrily. Su Jiran smiled and glanced at Baya's door. "I know Baya well. She has a twisted personality, but she's not a bad person. Sometimes she's too stubborn and extreme, but she'll regret it after she's done. She's still a child. Don't be angry, uncle." Xing Jinyan was embarrassed. "Jiran, are you speaking for Baya?" "I'm just stating the facts. After all, you and her will always see each other. If you're angry, you won't be pretty anymore." "I hope that you'll always be pretty," Su Jiran coaxed. Xing Bachuan drank a mouthful of water. Jiaran is right. After all, things are already like this. "So, when are you guys getting married?" "Jiran," Su Jiran said. "Yeah, Jiran I have you. Xing ya Jiran is me. Jabai Su." Su Qin Xing Jinyan's face darkened even further, and he muttered softly, "I thought you've never touched Baya before?" "People don't know. Gossip is a fearful thing. Nian, I don't want you to get hurt. Plus, I've just been demoted from my position as the deputy director. Many people are watching me. I'm free now. Can I go overseas with you?" Su Jiran pulled Xing Jinyan into his arms. Xing Jinyan felt better when he heard that they were going overseas. He looked at Xing Bachuan. "Dad, it's not easy for Jiran to start a company. Can we just give him the land he wants?" Xing Bachuan nodded. "We'll do it according to the rules. Otherwise, people will think that I'm biased. It seems like I won't get any benefits from becoming Governor Xing's son-in-law," Su Jiran said jokingly. "Dad, I'm going to marry him. Can you bear to see me suffer with him?" Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. "There's a procedure, but no matter how complicated it is, people come up with it. There's always a way." Xing Bachuan coaxed Xing Jinyan and looked at Su Jiran. "I won't participate in the bidding, but I'll tell you the other party's base price. The lowest bidder wins. Doesn't that still cost a lot of money?" Xing Jinyan pouted and said unhappily. "The country has a lot of projects that can be subsidized. I'll just sign here and you'll know how much you'll be subsidized," Xing Bachuan explained. Xing Jinyan smiled and hugged Xing Bachuan's neck. "You're the best, Dad." "Yes, I'm not good to you," Su Jiran said, going along with Xing Jinyan's tone. "If you don't treat me better, I won't want you anymore." Xing Jinyan hugged Su Jiran's arm and looked at Chang Ruyan. Chang Ruyan cleared her throat and said, "Xiaoyan is too clingy. Why don't you stay here today? Anyway, you're already engaged. It's good to cultivate your relationship as soon as possible." Su Jiran pinched Xing Jinyan's nose. "Little vixen, when the land is settled, we'll travel around Europe." Xing Jinyan smiled and looked at Baya's door proudly. She was the daughter of a powerful official, and Baya had nothing. How could she fight with her? In the next 2 months, Baya locked herself in her room and studied hard. She didn't go out at all. She didn't know much about Lu Shuang, nor did she ask about Gu Lingqing. She quit her job at the hospital. No one asked her to stay, and no one stopped her. Occasionally, she visited Bai Bing once a month. After Su Jiran got the land, she went out with Xing Jinyan for a month. Baya didn't care about what was going on outside. Under the intense study, she got first place in the written test and passed the interview. Today was her first day at the Discipline Inspection Office in City A. She put on light makeup. Because she didn't have work clothes yet, she deliberately wore a smart suit. Wearing the suit, she didn't need to dress up, and it outlined her perfect figure. Baya came out of the room with her bag, and her waist was suddenly held. She turned around and looked at Sujieran. Sujieran pushed her into the bathroom next door. His eyes were sparkling, and he looked at Baya, not hiding his surprise at all. His eyes fell on her rosy lips, and he said evilly, "Baya, you're so charming." Baya remained cold. "Let go. I miss you," Sujieran said in a husky voice. He held her hand, pressed it against a certain part of his body, and kissed her lips. Baya calmly took a photo with her phone. Sujieran looked at her warily. Baya smiled. "Believe it or not, I'll send the photo to Xing Jinyan." Sujieran leaned against the door, crossed his arms and looked at her lazily. "Send it, whatever." Baya couldn't do anything to a person like Sujieran. "Aren't you worried that Xing Jinyan will find out about your dirty side and won't want you anymore?" "Actually, Xing Jinyan and I have been together for more than 3 months. I've been tired of her for a long time, and I want to find a reason to dump her. Why don't you help me think of one?" Sujieran brushed the hair in front of Baya's forehead. Baya pushed Sujieran away, opened the door, and went out. Sujieran followed her out. Xing Jinyan saw them walking together on the stairs, and he clenched his fists. Ever since Sujieran and Baya divorced, he had never touched her again. Even when they went on a vacation together, he was not interested in it. She begged him to do it a few times, but Sujieran couldn't get out every time. He had to use his mouth and hands to settle it. For the past month, although Sujieran had been sleeping in the same room with her, no matter how she seduced him, he wouldn't get big. She was jealous, and her blood was boiling. She couldn't just sit and wait. Didn't Baya like Gu Lingqing? Chapter 112. Baya left the house. Sujieran held her hand and walked to his car. Baya was annoyed. She shook off Sujieran's hand and shouted, "Sujieran, what do you want? What do you want? You've been studying in your room these days. You've given up your major and career just to go to the Discipline Inspection Commission. Who do you want to discipline?" Sujieran asked tentatively. "What are you afraid of? It's fine as long as it's not you, isn't it?" Baya's eyes were cold. "You're not thinking of Suzheng, are you?" Baya turned her face away. "Eh." Sujieran chuckled and leaned against the car door. "Baya, you're ambitious. But don't you know that you're in a hopeless situation? Suzheng is the head of the Discipline Inspection Commission. He can crush you with one word. Besides, his rank is not something that a small local Discipline Inspection Commission can investigate. Don't be silly. Suzheng and Gu Tianhang are 2 unshakable mountains." Sujieran reminded her. "I don't think I need to report to you what I'm going to do." Baya turned around and was about to leave. Sujieran held the back of Baya's head and pulled her in front of him. He aimed at Baya's lips and kissed her. Baya was furious. She slapped Sujieran's face. "I'm telling you, I'll definitely succeed," Baya said confidently and walked forward. Sujieran wiped the corner of his mouth. He narrowed his eyes and frowned. Even though he had just touched Baya's lips, he could feel a strong feeling in his body. He wanted her. Now, she only had a physiological reaction to Baya. Baya arrived at the Discipline Inspection Commission. She reapplied her lipstick in the washroom. There weren't many people in the Discipline Inspection Commission, so the director introduced her to his subordinates. She went through the pre-employment procedures and took the oath. Baya didn't waste any time and went straight to the director's office. "What's wrong, Baya?" The director looked at Baya in confusion. "I remember that the Commission for Discipline Inspection has a rule that allows cross-city and cross-provincial supervision," Baya said. "In order to prevent local officials from protecting each other, there is indeed such a rule." The director nodded and said, "I want to be transferred to Jinyang City," Baya said firmly. The bureau chief looked at Baya and asked suspiciously, "You want to go to Jinyang City so badly? Do you have any news?" Baya nodded. "I have news. If I go to Jinyang City and make a contribution, it will also be considered as an achievement for the bureau chief, right?" I don't have the final say on which province or city to supervise. I need to apply to the higher-ups. Also, I need to give a detailed reason for the specific province or city. Can you give me the reason? Who are you going to apply to? Suzheng? Baiya wasn't sure about the process. I don't need to apply to Deputy Chief Su. Moreover, I don't understand the meaning of your words. I misspoke. I'm sorry. I'll call someone for help now. I'll contact you later. As soon as Song Shiyu finished speaking, Baiya hung up the phone. She was caught off guard. It made sense. She had hurt the girl so deeply. What did she want Baiya to do now? Song Shiyu was reliable. At 11 o'clock in the afternoon, Baiya received a call from Song Shiyu. They've agreed. You can ask your director to approve the application today. You can go to Jinyang City for discipline inspection tomorrow, Song Shiyu said with a smile. Thank you. Baiya was still cold. She hung up the phone and went straight to the director's office. Director, the higher-ups have agreed. You can apply now, Baiya said. The director didn't think that Xing Bachuan had the ability to get help from the higher-ups so quickly. This Baiya had a more powerful force supporting her than Xing Bachuan. He didn't want to offend Baiya and ruin his future, so he applied immediately. I've contacted the director in Jinyang City. I'll ask someone to book a plane ticket for you now. Tomorrow, they'll send someone to pick you up. If there's any situation, report it in time. I'll try my best to cooperate with you, the director said politely. Baiya nodded and walked out of the director's office. She took the second step smoothly. Chapter 113. The director was very helpful and booked a 17:20 p.m. flight to Jinyang City for her. Baiya went back to the Xing family to pack her small luggage. Xing Jinyan didn't go to work today. When she saw Baiya dragging her luggage, she went forward to stop Baiya. Where are you going? I don't need to report to you where I am going. Get out of my way, Baiya said coldly. Jiran is going to America for a business trip today. Are you going there too? Xing Jinyan was suspicious and anxious. Baiya laughed. Xing Jinyan, have you lost yourself? Where's your confidence? Where's your charm? Are you afraid that you, a rich missy, will lose to someone like me who has nothing? How could I lose my confidence? Jiran built a new company and gave it to me. I am the legal representative and the boss of the company. The company is valued at a few billion now. Why would I be afraid of losing to you? Xing Jinyan said sarcastically. I am just reminding you not to overestimate yourself. Then live your life well. Don't worry, as long as you don't target me, I have no interest in ruining your peaceful life. Baiya walked past Xing Jinyan and got into a taxi. Xing Jinyan was still worried. She drove and followed behind Baiya. Su Jiran was very nice to her. He gave her the company and doted on her. But Su Jiran didn't want to have sex with her. She always suspected that Su Jiran was having a good time outside. But when she asked someone to investigate, Su Jiran didn't have a girlfriend outside. She felt that the only person who could satisfy Su Jiran was Baiya. Xing Jinyan followed Baiya to the airport. She called Su Jiran. Jiran, are you at the airport? I'm on the way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Why? Do you miss me? Su Jiran smiled devilishly. I want to go with you, Xing Jinyan said coquettishly. Su Jiran's eyes flashed with irritation. Previously, when he was with Baiya, no matter what he did, Baiya would not question him. He didn't like being stared at or pestered by women all the time. Give him a little more time, and his plan will come true. Sure, I'll send someone to pick you up. Su Jiran looked out of the window with flagging interest. Moi. Xing Jinyan hung up the phone. She bought a hat, put on a pair of glasses and stared at Baiya. Baiya was reading in the bookstore. She was flipping through the psychology of microexpressions and felt that it was a good book. After paying, she took the book and entered the cafe. She ordered a cup of Blue Mountain and watched quietly. Xing Jinyan saw that Baiya did not answer the phone, which meant that Su Jiran did not call her. Logically speaking, if Su Jiran and Baiya had made an appointment, He would definitely inform Baya not to go since she had already said that she would come to the United States. It seemed that she was thinking too much. Why are you here? Su Jiran looked at the sneaky Xing Jinyan in surprise. When Xing Jinyan heard Su Jiran's voice, she smiled sweetly and took off her glasses. I wanted to give you a surprise. I'm sorry, I'm only surprised, not happy. My man has already gone to pick you up at home. If you're not at home, who will he pick up? Su Jiran was a little annoyed, and his tone became a little harsh. He dialed a number. You don't need to pick him up. From the corner of his eyes, he saw Baya sitting in the cafe. The cafe was very romantic. There was a lamp in front of Baya. The orange light of the lamp fell on her delicate face. Quiet shadow, auspicious and beautiful. Looking at it, it was like a light ink painting. A cold light flashed through Su Jiran's charming eyes. Now he knew why Xing Jinyan suddenly appeared at the airport and told him that she was at home. She was testing him. Su Jiran's lips curled up coldly. He looked at the idiotic Xing Jinyan. Are you still going to America? Yes, I want to go over and take care of you. Xing Jinyan held Su Jiran's arm. Su Jiran walked towards the ticket office. Subconsciously, he turned back to look at Baya. She didn't notice them and was quietly reading her book. Something was flowing in his heart. Baya arrived at Jinyang City at 18:30 p.m. Jinyang City's Discipline Inspection Commission sent someone to pick her up. It was a man and a woman who came to pick her up. The name tag was Baya. Baya walked towards them. Hello, I'm Baya. I didn't expect Inspector Bai to be so beautiful. Our bureau chief has arranged a dinner. I'm going to bring Inspector Bai over now. I'm Yang Li, you can call me Xiao Yang. He's Yang Yan, you can call him Lao Yang. Baya smiled. From now on, I'll have to trouble you guys. No, it's what I should do. I wonder who Chief Inspector Bai is investigating this time? Yang Li smiled and asked tentatively. I'm just looking around. It's a routine inspection. It's a normal procedure. Baya looked at Yang Li and said. Yang Li's eyes were sparkling. I heard from the bureau chief that you came here from nowhere. We didn't know about it beforehand. We're guessing that you already have a target. Not yet. Maybe we'll find one as we investigate, Baya said ambiguously. They got into the car and went to the most unique restaurant in Jinyang City. Full Moon Restaurant. Our Full Moon Restaurant is the oldest restaurant in Jinyang City. There is a lianli tree in the restaurant. Its roots are intertwined. It has a history of hundreds of years. Many young men and women come here to make wishes. It is said that it is very effective. Inspector Bai is so young. I don't think she's married. Do you want to try? Yang Li said enthusiastically. Baya smiled. Tell me about the big cases you've solved in the past few years. I'm more interested in this. Prosecutor Bai is really a workaholic. Our Jinyang City is quite peaceful. The people are simple and honest. The people live and work in peace and contentment. It's a city with a slower pace of life. Oh yes, you just arrived. Let me introduce you to a few famous streets and scenic spots here. Yang Li looked outside. Baya nodded. She didn't force it. Yang Li was eloquent and smart. Her words and actions were flawless. No wonder the Jinyang Procuratorate sent her to pick them up. However, Baya vaguely heard some problems from her evasiveness and her deliberate avoidance of taboo topics. She didn't say anything. She looked at the ancient and mysterious Jinyang City with gloomy eyes. After driving for half an hour, they arrived at Full Moon Restaurant. There weren't many people in the private room. There were only 3 of them. Zhong Tong, the finance officer of the Jinyang Procuratorate. Li Yu, the judge of the Jinyang Procuratorate. Seng Shuang, the disciplinary director of the Jinyang Procuratorate. Yang Li introduced them to Baya. There weren't many people here, but they were all the backbone of the Jinyang Procuratorate. Our bureau chief isn't here yet? Yang Li asked as she helped Baya to pull out the chair. The bureau chief is very busy. It's not like you don't know that. He'll probably be here in half an hour. Seng Shuang smiled and explained. Then I'll bring Inspector Bai to the interlocking tree to make a wish. Yang Li pulled Baya to the interlocking tree in the courtyard. The interlocking tree was full of wooden signs. There were bells hanging under the wooden signs. There was a red light on the left of the interlocking tree, and a street lamp on the right. Ah, the name on this person's wooden sign is the same as yours, Yang Li said excitedly. Chapter 114. Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat as she looked at the wooden sign. There was no signature on the wooden sign, but the handwriting was strong. She could tell that it was Gu Lingqing's handwriting. He wrote it today, Yang Li said in surprise. Bai Ye's eyes were covered with a layer of mist. She looked down, trying to hide the emotions in her eyes. What's wrong, Inspector Bai? Yang Li asked. Do you have a pen and a wooden sign? I want to be alone for a while. Bai Ye tried to calm herself down. Oh yes. Yang Li took out a pen and a wooden board from her bag, and passed them to Bai Ye. Bai Ye sat under the tree and wrote on the board, I won't forgive you. Protect me. She didn't write a name or a date. She hung it next to Gu Lingqing's sign and stared at it. The two boards were leaning against each other, swaying with the wind. She didn't expect him to come to Jinyang City. Was he here to investigate Luliang City? When she returned to the office, Chief Jin of Jinyang City was already there. He was in his 50s, burly, and had a restrained smile. He extended his hand to Bai Ye and shook it firmly. Welcome, leader. I don't deserve to be called a leader. The higher-ups asked me to come here to follow the procedure and cooperate with each other. Bai Ye smiled. Prosecutor Bai is very young. How long have you been a prosecutor? Chief Jin asked. Age is not the key to ambition. You just need to have the heart to work in the discipline inspection, Bai Ye said ambiguously. Yes. Prosecutor Bai is indeed young and promising. We will definitely cooperate with you during the supervision period. Please take a seat. Chief Jin smiled. Actually, Bai Ye's position was not high. She was just a soldier in the military flag, but a soldier could eat up the military flag. Although she was just an ordinary member of the Discipline Inspection Department, she would definitely be warmly received by the Discipline Inspection Department of another city and be treated like a queen. Her feedback was very important. Halfway through the meal, Chief Jin received a call. All right, that's good. You have to take good care of him. He's Deputy Chief Su's future son-in-law. In the future, you just have to say the word. All right, I'll come over now. When Bai Ye heard the words Deputy Chief Su's future son-in-law, he clenched his cup so tightly that his fingernails turned white. Well, I'm sorry. I'll go over to propose a toast. Chief Jin raised his glass. Yang Li took advantage of the situation and held the bottle of wine. Chief, let me accompany you. Men and women work together, and it will not be tiring. Let's go together. Chief Jin walked in front of Wang Yao. Is Deputy Chief Su's future son-in-law Deputy Chief Gu's son? Zhong Tong asked Seng Shuang. Yeah, I saw him on TV last time. He's very, very handsome. His facial features are absolutely beautiful. He's even better looking than the male lead in idol dramas. Most importantly, he has a good temperament and a strong aura. One look from him is enough to determine the outcome of a battle, Seng Shuang said with admiration. No wonder that little girl, Yang Li, rushed to see it. Why don't we go and take a look as well? Prosecutor Bai, let's go together. Seng Shuang raised her wine glass and suggested. Bai Ye's eyes were slightly red. No, I'm a little drunk. I want to go back and rest early. Go back and rest. Old Yang, you didn't drink. Send Prosecutor Bai back. Seng Shuang instructed Yang Yan. Sure. Yang Yan picked up the clothes hanging on the chair. Remember to take good care of him, Li Yu instructed. Yes. Prosecutor Bai, let's go. Yang Yan led the way. Bai Ye left with her head lowered. She still did not know how she should face Gu Lingqing if she saw him. She was afraid of hurting his heart, and even more afraid of hurting her own heart. Yang Yan sent Bai Ye to the best 6-star hotel in Jinyang City. Your prosecutor's dormitory is so good? Bai Ye was surprised as she got out of the car. You came in a hurry. Our prosecutor's dormitory doesn't have any empty rooms, so it's not appropriate for others to move in. This hotel has an agreement with our prosecutor's office, and the rent isn't expensive, Yang Yin explained. Baiya was indeed a little tired. She didn't refuse and followed Old Yang into the hall. Old Yang showed his identification and said in a low voice, "I'm from the Discipline Inspection Institute. I want a presidential suite. I don't need to register. I'll stay here for a month." "Yes." The receptionist swiped the card and handed it to Yang Yin. She said respectfully, "It's on the 18th floor, room 1829. Prosecutor Bai, it's done. This way please." Old Yang walked in front and reached the 18th floor. There was a special room manager on the 18th floor, who was already standing at the elevator to welcome them. "Room 1829, Old Yang said. "This way please," the room manager said with a smile. She brought Baiya to the room and pushed the door open respectfully. "If you have any needs, you can call the internal line 1800. We will serve you 24 hours a day. There are specific service items on the bedside table in the room. You can tell us if you have any requests," the room manager said gently. Her voice was so pleasant that it made people feel as if they were immersed in spring. "Thank you," Baiya said. "Then Prosecutor Bai, I won't disturb your rest. I'll come to pick you up at 8 tomorrow," Yang Yin said with a smile. Baiya nodded. "Thank you." Yang Yin left with a smile and closed the door for Baiya. Baiya glanced at the presidential suite of the 6-star hotel. There were 3 rooms, a hall, and a sky garden. One room was for sleeping, one was for the bathroom, and the last was for the gym. There were fitness machines inside. There was no bed in the living room. There was a huge sofa. Opposite the sofa was a 72-inch HD TV. Beside the TV was a sound system. It was a host that could directly order songs. Behind the sofa was a wine cabinet. There were many expensive wines in the cabinet. The flowers in the room were picked in the morning and were very fresh. There was a computer in the bedroom, and there were birth control products on the bedside table. On the side was a huge wardrobe. She realized that the bedroom and bathroom could be connected. The bathtub was very big, 2 meters by 2 meters. It was a hot spring style with a full massage. The cosmetics on the shelf were all Chanel brands. Usually they were luxuries, but here they were daily necessities. She took off her clothes and entered the bathtub. She chose the mist bath and massage function. The water vapor quickly filled the bathtub. She was submerged in the mist. The water column below her body was very comfortable. Baiya understood why those rich people liked to live in 6-star presidential suites. It was indeed a luxurious enjoyment. From the attitude of the Jinyang City Procuratorate towards her, she felt that there was a big problem with this procuratorate. Baiya closed her eyes. In a daze, she heard the door close and opened her eyes. The bathroom door was pushed open. Gu Lingqing looked at her in the bathtub and was slightly shocked. His eyes were deep and moved like waves. He looked at her and said uncertainly, "Baiya." Chapter 115. Gu Lingqing confirmed that she was really Baiya. His eyes darkened, as if the mist had condensed, dark and profound. How long had it been since he last saw her? 65 days. They met in summer, and when they met again it was already late autumn. "Are you okay?" Gu Lingqing asked in a hoarse voice. When he asked, his voice was already choked. Baiya unconsciously looked at his broken finger, and her eyes were a little wet. She didn't know how to hide her emotions now, so she turned her face away and said coldly, "Is it appropriate to talk about the old days now? Don't fall into someone else's trap." "I'm in. It's a trap, and I can't avoid it anymore." Gu Lingqing sat by the bathroom, staring at her, and didn't intend to leave. "You've lost weight. Isn't it said that skinny beauty is popular? I think you look better when you're a little fatter," Gu Lingqing said lightly. Baiya lowered her head. After all, she didn't wear clothes, and it was very uncomfortable to chat like this. With their current relationship, it was not appropriate to chat, let alone like this. "I figured it out." Baiya's eyes twinkled. "I'll wait for you outside." Gu Lingqing turned around and went out. Baiya smelled the strong smell of alcohol on him. She thought that this room was only for her, so she took off her clothes and didn't bring in a change of clothes. She stood up to get a bath towel. Gu Lingqing carried the suitcase in his hand, pushed the door open, and looked at her with his deep eyes. Baya was stunned in the distance. Gu Lingqing looked away. Baya didn't panic, and she didn't scream. Anyway, he had seen it before. She wrapped the bath towel around herself. Gu Lingqing carried her suitcase in. I found that you don't have a change of clothes. It's rude of me. Baya responded. Gu Lingqing closed the door. When Baya changed her clothes and went out, Gu Lingqing was standing by the window. His handsome face was reflected in the window. She saw the sadness in his eyes that he didn't hide. He also looked at her through the reflection of the window. However, when he turned around, he hid his emotions. I just called to ask. Because this room was requested by the procuratorate, it wasn't registered. The receptionist at the front desk changed and didn't know that this room was already occupied. They are now changing my room. It's next to yours, 1827. Gu Lingqing explained. Baya looked down, quiet and very distant. Gu Lingqing stared at her. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he swallowed his bitterness. His gaze deepened. How did you become a prosecutor? Gu Lingqing. Baya looked up, her eyes lingering on his face, and said meaningfully, change your job, change your mood, change your environment, and change your life. He wanted to say, but he wanted to say, yeah, he had a lot of things to say to her, but they were all stuck in his throat. He's good. Xing Bachuan contributed a lot to becoming a prosecutor, being transferred here to be a supervisor, living in a luxurious house, and enjoying the flattery of others, Baya said simply, with the corners of her mouth raised. She didn't want him to worry. Are you here to investigate Luliang City? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Baya didn't deny it. I think he's one of the executioners who killed the villagers. Do you know why you can stay in such a good room? I'm already on their boat. They're setting a trap for me, Baya guessed. She poured some water and saw that there was honey. She put the honey in and passed it to Gu Lingqing. You've drunk wine. Don't drink tea water. It's not good for your health. Water with some honey can relieve your headache, Baya said. Gu Lingqing took the glass of water from Baya, took a sip, looked at her, and said in a low voice after a few seconds of silence, since you know it's a boat, how are you going to escape? I think it's too dangerous. I can arrange for you to study in a hospital abroad, and come back in 2 years. I should have solved everything by then. Solved what? Baya also poured herself a glass of water and took a sip. 2 years later, she would still be an ordinary doctor. She didn't think that Gu Lingqing's family would accept her. Without Su Shaoling, there would be another Su Shaoling. You should know what I'm talking about, right? Gu Lingqing looked at her with burning eyes. Baya's eyes became cold. She didn't look at him, but she said with certainty, I know what kind of life I want. Chief Gu, you're overstepping your bounds. You really don't plan for me anymore in your life? Gu Lingqing asked in a deep voice. Baya's heart tightened, and she felt a little pain. She didn't answer him directly. She walked to the door, opened the door, and said resolutely, I'm going to sleep. Don't make people suspicious. 1 finger is the price, and I can't afford the consequences. Gu Lingqing frowned and walked out of the door. She looked calm, and her fists were clenched tightly. She walked out of her room. Baya closed the door. He said that he would arrange for her to study abroad. He said that she would wait for him for 2 years. She understood his unspoken words. Baya smiled, but tears rolled down her cheeks. Gu Lingqing, let alone 2 years, I will wait for you for 20 years. She didn't sleep, but studied the history of Jinyang City on the internet. Jinyang City was an ancient city. In ancient times, this city was the imperial city of several emperors. There were several generations of history hidden under this ancient city. To put it bluntly, there were antiques everywhere under the ground. The whole city was full of antique flavor, and it was a tourist attraction. With the help of geologists, historians, and archaeologists, the country designated the Cultural Protection Area of Jinyang City. In the Cultural Protection Area, no one was allowed to dig. Outside the protection area, the economy could be developed vigorously. Baya didn't think it was that simple. She checked and found that the hotel she stayed in belonged to the Jinyang city government. A city used such a luxurious hotel for the relevant people to live in for free. How much financial expenditure was it? Could it be that this was their nest? She should really be on the pirate ship. What should she plan for the next step? Baya had a headache thinking about it. She walked to the sky garden. The moonlight was bright and cold. It passed through her clothes and fell on her skin. The coolness made her more rational. She saw something moving in the corner of her eyes. She looked to the right. There was a person, who seemed to have just woken up, climbing up from the ground. He was covered in blood, and there was a knife in his chest. He walked towards her. "Help me!" Baya screamed, thinking that it was a prank. The man fell straight in front of Baya, and his hand was still on Baya's foot. She checked his breath. There was no breath. Gu Lingqing heard Baya's voice. He rushed to the sky garden without thinking and crossed over. He didn't consider that it was the 18th floor. If he fell down, he would die. Chapter 116. No matter how rational Baya was, it was too sudden. She was scared and held Gu Lingqing's hand. How could someone suddenly die here? Gu Lingqing's eyes tightened. He said urgently, "Someone is framing you." Bang, bang, bang. The door outside was knocked open. "Gu Lingqing, leave now. Otherwise, they will suspect that the person broke our relationship. If they want to blame someone, they can always find a pretext," Baya said urgently. "Xiaoya, do you trust me?" Gu Lingqing asked coldly. "Yes," Baya said without hesitation. The security guards of the hotel rushed in and went directly to the Airview Garden. "Sir, a dead person was found in the Airview Garden, but the murderer was not found," the security captain reported through the walkie-talkie. He frowned and glanced around the room. Then he ordered his subordinates, "Search my room." "What are you doing here?" Gu Lingqing walked in and said harshly. "There was a murder in this room. Irrelevant people should stay away from here," the security captain said angrily. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes. He grabbed the security captain's neck and pressed it against the door. A cold light suddenly appeared. The security captain didn't even have a chance to struggle. "Who are you to yell at me? If there was a murder, a security guard like you can't handle it, right?" Gu Lingqing said coldly. The security captain's face turned pale. Gu Lingqing shook off the security captain and made a phone call. He ordered, "Call the Jinyang Police Department. There was a murder in room 1829 of Jinyang Hotel. Tell them to come here in 30 minutes. Hearing Gu Lingqing making a phone call, the security captain's face turned even darker. "Sir, we didn't find the guest in this room," a subordinate of the security team reported. The security captain frowned. "Let's go out first." Gu Lingqing stood straight at the door. "It's better to wait for the police to come. We can talk about it together." 10 minutes later, Baya came out of the elevator with her hair wet. She walked to the door and said in surprise, "Why are you in my room?" When the security guard saw Baya, his eyes widened. He looked at the sky garden, and then at Baya. His eyes flickered and he lowered his head. "What happened?" The security director also came over. "Director, someone died in room 1829, but there's no murderer." "It's too strange," the security captain reported. The head of security glanced at Baya and ordered, "Check the surveillance." Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes. His gaze was sharp as he scrutinized the security director. "The police will handle this matter." The head of security immediately lowered his head. "Yes, yes." Half an hour later, the director of the Jinyang City Police Department, the investigation team, the hotel manager, the head of security, the captain, Gu Lingqing, and Baya were all in the surveillance room. They looked at the video. Baya checked in at 2012. Gu Lingqing entered Baya's room at 2020 and left Baya's room at 2030. The video was blank from 2110 to 2140. At 2141, the security guard rushed into Baya's room and found someone dead. At 2151, Baya came back. "Madam Baya, what were you doing from 2110 to 2140? The police asked Baya. "After Mr. Gu left, I was surfing the internet." Because I'm a prosecutor who was transferred to Jinyang City, I need to understand the culture of Jinyang City. You can check all the records of my surfing. At about 21:30, I felt a little tired. I saw the hotel's garden and swimming pool on the hotel's website. I went down the stairs to the swimming pool. Baya explained calmly. The surveillance at the swimming pool should be separate, right? The police asked the security director. Yes, it's separate, the security director said and showed the video. Baya appeared at the swimming pool at 21:42. She swam 2 laps and left. Why did you only swim 2 laps? The police asked. The water wasn't clean, Baya said. Police officer, please find the murderer. How could he die in my sky garden? It's too mysterious. We will follow up on the details, the police said with a troubled look. The security director's face was pale. How could such a thing happen? Didn't you notice that the surveillance was missing for half an hour? The police asked the security director suspiciously. Today one of us is celebrating a birthday. So we booked a room and had a birthday party at 1729. We registered it with my ID. I called the person on duty over to eat a cake, and then went back to work, the security director explained. Oh yeah, when we were in room 1729, we heard a woman scream in room 1829. So I brought my men and rushed over immediately, the security director said. What time was it when you heard the scream? The police asked with a sharp sense of professionalism. I took a look at my watch. I'm pretty sure it was at 21:30. Also, I'm pretty sure it was a woman's voice. All of us heard it, the security director said and looked at Baya with a weird gaze. Baya glanced at the security director. You mean that I killed that man? Police officer, let me make an assumption. Let me assume this. The man came to find the white heroine at 21:10, and the white heroine killed him within 20 minutes. Then she screamed at 21:30. We rushed in at 20:41, and she rushed to the swimming pool at 20:30 to create an alibi. Baya laughed. Come on, that man was strong and strong. Would I be his opponent? Also, I don't even know who he is. Why did he come to find me? Why would I kill him? What if you give him something like a drug first? It's also possible to kill him with one stab, the security captain said confidently. Gu Lingqing frowned, and a sharp light flashed across his eyes. The door was pushed open. His colleague from the forensics department came in and reported to the director. We found a bottle of XXXX in the room. We're going back to dissect the body to determine if he died from a dagger or poison. See, I told you. The security director stood up excitedly. You mean she killed someone and purposely screamed to lure you over? Gu Lingqing said coldly. She purposely created an alibi, the security director said with certainty. If she could even create an alibi, why would she purposely leave the poison behind? Also, I heard the scream next door at 21:39. It doesn't match with the 21:30 that you said. Also, I heard the scream not long after that. About 1 or 2 minutes later, I heard the sound of the door next door being slammed. Why did you lie? Are you the murderer? Gu Lingqing questioned. The security director's face turned pale. He argued, maybe my watch is broken. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.